All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the October 11th version of the Washington State Energy Code commercial. Thanks for deciding to come back. A few reminders, please mute all the time unless you're talking. Raise your hand when you have a comment, lower it when you're done. Use your reactions to show support for what is being said. Just as a quick reminder, today we're looking at the integrated draft only. So we have basically two choices with every section that's been redlined here. We can accept it or reject it or make very, very small modifications. The base document is the 2021 Washington State Energy Code commercial. The redlined areas are the WSEC-C 2024. And we are supposed to accept whatever is more stringent as long as it makes sense. We can accept each of the red lines individually or reject each of them individually. The document is 240 pages long. We did not make it very far last time. We made it about 10% of the way through. So we're still learning to work together as a tag. Let's go a bit quicker this week. If we spend more than 5 minutes on an item, I'm going to suggest someone comes back with better language, or a small group of people comes back with better language in 2 weeks when we meet again. And I hope that is the last meeting. I hope we can get through all this. So let's work together on that. To be completely clear, what we're working on is the base code that will accept code proposals to be submitted. So this doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. And many times what you might want to suggest would be a better code change proposal that you would submit in a few months rather than now. So you can mention that you want to submit a code change proposal on something, but we're not going to discuss those in detail today so that we can get through the integrated draft. Okay, when we meet next year, the meetings will start at 9:30, possibly earlier. And I'm going to put together a survey and have Krista send that out so that we can figure out what time we want to meet. I heard from a few people the meeting at 7 or 8 would be a lot better than the meeting at 9 or 10, starting the meetings at that time. And I'm fine starting as early as 7. So we're going to send out a survey for the meetings next year when we consider the code proposals. Okay, last time we established 3 work groups, and I'm going to have them report back today. I also have a few other work groups that I think will probably be established based on just the complexity of stuff we're going to talk about today. I also heard that C4 and 9 should be discussed today, and we have Mike Rosenberg from PNNL, who's worked on this, who will be here to talk about it briefly. He can only be here for an hour, so I'm going to put it early on the agenda. Let's do a roll call for attendance and see who's here.
So, Shell Anderson.
I am here.
Craig Holt.
Here as well.
Margaret Montgomery. Marty Brennan.
Here.
Kim Barker.
Kim Barker is here.
Todd Blevins. Dwayne Johnlin.
Here.
Eric Bedell.
Here.
Nick Massey.
Present.
Sean Bigg.
Here.
Kevin Roberts. Greg Johnson.
Present.
Nathan Miller.
Present.
Premkor Siddharth.
Present.
Irina Raspetness.
Present.
Kevin Duell.
I am here.
Ian Casey.
Here.
Poppy Storm said she would not be able to make it. Shalice Desai.
Present.
Thank you. Larry Andrews.
Present.
Eric Olman.
Present.
Sorry. Lisa Rosenau.
Present.
Rick Blumenthal. He indicated he might be a little late to the meeting. Irina Sorofa.
Present.
Andy Burnett,
Present.
Sloan Ritchie,
Here.
Brett Conway,
Here.
Luke Howard, Liz Reichert,
Here.
Marcus Verta,
Present.
Kevin Sharad,
Present.
Alessandra De La Torre, and Deepa Savanj.
Here.
So we do have a quorum.
Great, thank you, Annette.
Yep.
The next thing to do, I gave my welcome and introductions. Are there any members of the public that are here that want to introduce themselves? Elizabeth.
Yeah, this is Elizabeth Torsky with Cascade Natural Gas. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I see no more hands up. So we'll move on. Review and approve agenda. The agenda is pretty simple. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve. Greg Johnson.
Thanks, Greg. Second? Is there a second?
I'll make a motion, Lisa Rose, no.
Or will you second Greg's motion to approve it?
Sorry. Yes, I'll second Greg's motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there further discussion on the agenda? Okay, all in favor of the approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Unanimous, all right, it passes. We now have an agenda. We are on to item 3, continue review of the integrated draft 2024 Washington State Energy Code commercial. And as I mentioned in the intro, if we could skip to the TSPR C409 section, that would be great. We can cover that. And Mike Rosenau, are you on, or I mean, sorry, right, Mike Rosenberg, are you on the call? Or Supriya?
Yes, hi, Supriya's here. Mike's on travel and he will not be able to join. He asked me to join for this discussion. So I guess I'll start by giving folks an overview of C409, specifically how it differs from the current HVAC system performance approach in Washington State 2021, and also kind of lay out reasons why Washington should probably continue with the 2021 approach for their next code edition. So just to begin, C409, this is based on the 90.1 2022 approach for HVAC system performance.
Hey, Supriya, just to be clear, I want to be clear for the whole tag because you are recommending, based on your review, that C409 be maintained in its entirety without the redlined changes, as opposed to going with the redline changes. Is that correct?
So if I understand correctly, the redline changes for the new code edition bring it more in line with IECC 2024, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the red line is IECC 2024.
Yeah, so I am recommending not making the red line changes. There are some things which have been improved, and we can go through and talk about those. But yes, I am recommending not implementing the 2024 approach for the next Washington State Energy Code.
Okay, and then do you want to go through the top few reasons why you're making that recommendation?
I want to clarify before we get into this that our C409 is metering and not total building performance. Right now, I don't have in our integrated draft the IECC C409 in there.
Okay. I think so. Yeah, so I guess, Supriya, what you were suggesting was that we don't adopt the IECC
C4.
2024
Yeah.
C409, and it's not even in the integrated draft. And one of the big reasons was it's not compatible with Washington codes, is what I heard.
Correct. It's not compatible. So,
Okay.
so the big the Washington Energy Code, it uses approach where the proposed building is compared to a baseline, and the baseline is modeled with dedicated outdoor air systems and heat pumps. So the system configuration was determined by the Washington State Energy Code tag with the objective of decoupling ventilation air from conditioned air and having heat pumps for space heating and cooling. And the DOAS in some cases also have an ERV. Now, the 90.1 or the IECC 2024 approach, it's extremely different. Firstly, in Washington State Energy Code, the proposed building is directly compared to the baseline, and the proposed needs to be equal to the baseline or better than the baseline to comply. So basically, you're comparing the performance of the proposed system to DOAS and heat pump configuration. But in the 90.1 and IECC approach, it's there's a baseline which is defined based on 90.1 2004 code requirements. So it's a stable baseline similar to Appendix G, and the target system is a good choice HVAC system selection. It's not representing heat pumps or decoupled ventilation systems in most cases. So for large office or medium office, it could be a VAV or packaged VAV with reheat. That could be electric resistance or a hot water boiler. And also, this process establishes an MPF or a mechanical performance factor, which is similar to the BPF concept in Appendix G. So the proposed building now would be compared to a stable baseline with this MPF factor applied on top of it for a target performance threshold. I'll pause here and see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. Yeah, Lisa, please go ahead.
Thanks, Supriya. So then just to make sure I'm wrapping my head around this, are you recommending that some of the changes, improvements in 90.1 be incorporated or to be proposed for Washington State's 2024 code as a code change proposal? Are there things over there in 90.1 that you think would be important to incorporate versus adopting the IECC language about TSPR?
The basic, no, I am not recommending that. The basic approach that 2022 takes is very different from the Washington approach. And based on our experience, the Washington approach has worked better in the industry. The 90.1 approach, which actually is going to be hopefully rolled back for 2025, where they'll shift over to comparing directly with the target. This BPF or MPF approach, or the stable baseline comparison, works really well for a whole building performance pathway, like Appendix G or C406. If I remember correct, no, C407, which is the whole building performance pathway. But it brings in a level of abstraction for mechanical performance, because you can only make improvements to the mechanical system to demonstrate compliance with the HVAC system performance part. So having this whole building metric of an MPF is not really helpful for this HVAC system performance pathway. So I'm not recommending adopting the 2022 approach. There are some clarifications which got added in 2022. And if any of those are missing in the IECC 2024, then we could add that. But I think the current approach in the Washington State Energy Code 2021 is better than what's present in 90.1 or IECC.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Sorry,
Thanks for the explanation. Mhm.
Thanks, Supriya. I do have a question to Krista, which is, so the red line language you're saying for the IECC update to this section that covers TSPR is not in the integrated draft. That's correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and it's, from what we heard from Supriya, it's incompatible. So I guess there's not a big decision here to be made. I see Dwayne says we should have a working group, but if it's not in the document we see in front of us, it's not compatible. It seems like we could just not do anything about it. And we would have a perfectly good integrated draft that could accept code proposals later. And I guess that would be my recommendation. Dwayne had his hand up first, so Dwayne, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Supriya's analysis is probably just as good as one of our floundering working groups. And so is there a decision that you want to have made to stick with the language we see on the screen right now at 403.1.1?
I don't think we need to make, if to stick with the language we see on the screen, we do not need to make a decision today. So we could move on when there's no more discussion, and then we can cover, you know, anything that is redlined in it later. Does that make sense?
No, it makes great sense. I'd like to hear if anybody has an objection to the way that Supriya's described it and the way we have it in the integrated draft. If not, we can just leave this and move on.
Sounds good, Larry.
Yeah, I would like to not make a decision on this today. So we have a week or so that some of us can go back and read what the ICC code, a code that was made by multiple states instead of our state, pretty much. And I'd like to have some time to review what they've came up with, what we have, and because I don't have nothing here to look at. Okay. And I'm in the process of getting the 2024 code from ICC right now. So I'd like to put this on the back burner and then have us have a chance to take a look at it on our own for a week.
Sounds good, Larry. So we don't need to do anything to move this forward. So Larry, if you have any recommendations at our next meeting in 2 weeks, please just bring it up as a motion, or just email me and we'll add it to the agenda, or just bring it up anytime during discussion and we'll go back to that if you have a recommendation. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Anything else, Supriya?
Yeah, just two more things. I mentioned it very briefly, but I want to emphasize the ICC 2024 approach. This was also PNNL worked with the ICC committee to develop this. And in 90.1 2022, which also has the same approach as ICC 2024, we did receive a public review comment which suggested removing the mechanical performance factor approach. And because we see the value of the Washington State approach, we have made a proposal to the 90.1 committee to remove the mechanical performance factor approach in 90.1 2025. And the committee will, mechanical subcommittee will be voting on that next week. And hopefully that'll be a decision that the full committee also approves next year. So this approach, which is currently in ICC, if it goes through in 90.1, then we'll also work to remove the MPF approach from the next version of ICC.
Thanks, Supriya. That's good. So at our next meeting, if you're there, you could tell us how the committee votes.
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so we were going to move on. I wanted the 3 work groups to report back. You can make it brief. The question is, do you have a clear recommendation? And is there muddiness about that recommendation, or further discussion on that recommendation? Before we do that, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah. I was wondering, Michelle, do we need a formal motion to table this section?
We do not need
Okay.
one.
Great.
There was no motion to consider it, and we're gonna just at the end have a motion to move forward with the whole code unless people have specific comments on it. So
Excellent.
in general, as we scroll through stuff, if you have a comment, bring it up. When we get to the end, I'd like to make a motion or I'd like someone to make a motion to accept the whole thing with all the modifications we've made. So speak as we go through things, and if something bugs you and you find it later that you want to talk about it at the next meeting, bring it up, or at this meeting, bring it up. tag members are free to bring up something at any point. So if something bugged you about last week, we can talk about it again.
Great.
You have a lot of power as tag members. So thank you, Kevin. Good. It was a good point. So there were 3 work groups. One was Nathan Miller and Brett. And Nathan or Brett, do you have a clear recommendation on the Appendix A?
We do not have a clear recommendation. We reviewed them both. There's pros and cons to both the ASHRAE and WSEC Appendix A. It's not universal that one is always more or less stringent than the other. So it's going to take a bit more work. I'm thinking perhaps sending my findings in some sort of mini report that can be, not my findings, our findings, in a mini report that can be, anybody who is interested in learning more about it can process a little bit and probably have to make a future recommendation.
That sounds great. Can you send that in advance of the meeting in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Awesome. And just from a legal perspective, you need to send that to Krista, and Krista will send it to everybody else. So
Noted.
tag members should not email all tag members, or it's seen as violating the Public Meetings Act, or it can be seen as that. So always email Krista and she'll send stuff out if you have thoughts on things. Okay. Greg, Larry, and Poppy, approved source. Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, so we had a unanimous rewrite. So I emailed that to Krista and you, Chell. So I don't know if that's worth bringing up. It actually ends up being a pretty minor word edit to the definition. So I would propose that it'd be easy to make this change in the red line draft, and it doesn't require a proposal. It'd speed things up. So you can see down below the red line from the IECC definition, and then the proposed revision on the top.
Excuse me, can you make that a little larger on the screen?
And to remind everyone, this the IEC definition is a new addition. So there was no definition for approved source in the code prior. So and just walking through the reasons for that change. So the first off is we eliminated any language that would inadvertently cause the it to require an engineer. We all unanimously agreed that not everything needs a engineer, and we also reviewed where it was used. And then secondly, there was a listing of independent in the definition, and in some cases where it was used independent, it could force an unreasonable expectation that a contractor had to hire another subcontractor to verify things, or an engineering firm would have to hire a sub-engineering firm to verify things, which was unnecessary in a lot of situations. So we felt that adding the word, some qualifiers like qualified person, competent to possess technical expertise and experience, was enough to give the code official discretion to reject any bad sources, but without actually imposing some onerous requirements.
Greg, are there comments or thoughts on the proposed revision for this definition?
I would say, just as a code official, that the definition we have now is not great, but the proposed definition is even more nebulous, and it would be hard for any code official to argue that somebody doesn't have enough experience. Or something. Basically, I think an approved source becomes just about anybody.
Well, one thing I'll just note, Dwayne, is the way that approved source, where it says application of engineering principles, that triggers, there's other RCWs that actually triggers that has to be an engineer now. Because if you read the Engineering Act, when you talk about analyzing materials and methods and of engineering principles, you have inadvertently triggered only engineer, and so that was the challenge.
Right, but I could see the challenge, and I think that this just opens it for absolutely anybody to say, I have experience. You can't say I'm not an approved source, because I'm competent and I have experience, and how can I argue with that? It basically everything is an approved source now.
Larry.
When we have a competent person or qualified person when we do welding, that means that person has made different types of welds for the company. The company has accepted those welds, and that's how you get a weld approval. Okay. And a person that can go out and do welds. Okay. There is no truly certification out there other than he goes to the shop, does some welding for the shop people take the what he's done are those welds reasonable? If they are, then the man is justified as a competent welder, okay, according to the shop standards. I would hope that this would be following the same thing. I mean, if the man's been out there doing this for years and doing the construction, then he would be competent. And this gives the code official he has the authority here to say, yeah, you're competent, or he doesn't. Now he can get that delivered to him from an inspector. The inspector can go out there and say, this guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Then the code official can say, hey, we don't feel you're a competent source right now. Okay. And I think that's more than reasonable in the construction industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Please note that the existing definition is the IBC definition. So we're departing from a national standard with this. And I think it was intended by IBC to refer to engineers.
Okay, so Dwayne, you're saying approved source is
That's straight IBC
throughout
language.
the ICC codes, AI codes.
I don't know about outside of the energy code.
Did you say the IBC, the building code?
Sorry. Actually, yes, it is an IBC term as well. So yes, it's an ICC general standard, and so this would be, I guess, in conflict with the building code definition of approved source.
Okay, good information, Kevin.
Yeah, I forget where this actually shows up. Seems like that matters. In other words, who cares what this definition is? Or not something. I don't mean to be so flippant. Sorry. Where does approved source show up, and why is it limiting this person or firm?
So I'm just looking at the code right now, and approved source is defined, and then it's for the psi or tri factor, for thermal analysis, testing, or other approved sources. And that actually, the word approved is italicized, but not sources. So that is probably not actually using the definition of approved source. Okay, so it looks like the only place that it shows up is under C503.3.1 roof, ceiling, and attic alterations. Construction documents that include a report by a registered design professional or an approved source documenting details of the limiting conditions affecting compliance with the installation requirements. And then the next use is under another exception for roof, ceiling, and attic alterations. So it really only shows up as a defined term in C503.3.1, roof, ceiling, and attic alterations. So it is really a very minimal use of it within the actual code.
It also does the lighting. So on the total lighting, connective interior lighting, C405.4.1, under other, the definition. So it says
C401.
Yeah, lighting, so C405.4.1 total connected interior lighting power. So it's the wattage of all other luminaires.
Well, that is the word approved, which means acceptable to the building official, is italicized, but not the word source. So
Yeah,
approved source is not that's not the defined term there.
we took that as a typographical error and it meant approved source.
Yeah, it looks like in the context, it looks like you're right.
And then with your chi factors, there's that same typographic error occurs there also. So thermal breaks, like certifying what's a thermal break.
Yep. So approved sources is thermal breaks, lighting, wattage, verified by the manufacturer or an approved source. So that could be, I guess, an engineer or somebody else. And then under exceptions for roof, ceiling, and attic alterations. We have spent a good deal of time on this, and
Can I speak just one more minute? Okay.
please, Larry.
Okay. As a general contractor and a mechanical contractor in this state, there is a law that says that I'm allowed to design and build my own buildings and my own mechanical equipment. And by throwing something like this in here is against the law. Okay. And I think that's theirs. So companies like mine can exist. Okay. And
So Larry, are you suggesting the upper one or the lower one is preferable and complies with the law in your understanding?
I think the approved source of a qualified person, the lower one, the one that we came up with as a group.
And Larry, this is Eric Eric Bedell. I represent the general contractors. Can you tell me the law on that? I'm just very curious. And what do you mean by there's a law that says we can build?
As a general contractor, I'll research it this next week, but
Thank you.
In the past, there is a law that says as a mechanical contractor, and I'm a general contractor,
Yep.
I can design a mechanical system. I don't need an engineer to do it, as long as I'm doing the work in my own building. Okay, doing the design work. So I bid a job. I can't do design work for a general bid job.
10-4. Okay.
Okay, that several contractors, but if I'm building the building and I'm doing the mechanical work, my contractor's license allows me to do that. Okay.
I have the RCW reference if you want it. It's RCW 18.43.130 number 1. And that's basically on the Engineering Act saying that overlapping areas of practice and any other legal recognized professions or trades is has an exception that doesn't have to have an engineering license.
10-4. Hey, appreciate both of you guys, Greg and Larry, explain that.
So
learn something new every day.
Yeah, if you have a design firm that has went out and did a design for a job and I'm not generaling that job, then I couldn't do a redesign of that job unless I become the general of the job and do the job completely. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Gregory, for giving the RCW. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So do we focus on the word independent?
The word independent is a difference between the two. Yeah. What about it, Shailesh?
Well, there are times where independent person is required who do not have the same as design person. You know, in the code, there are times where it is required to have a third party. So being an independent, we are eliminating the word independent here also.
Yep. do you have a preference for either of these, Shailesh? Are you saying the first one is more, is better because it has the word independent?
I think if the ICC have word independent, they must have a reason to do so. And for that reason, I would go with independent word.
Okay, thank you. Dwayne?
Yes, I would suggest that in this case, since it does involve coordination with the other state codes and ICC generally, and it's not easily resolvable, that we leave the original language as it has been for many code cycles, and somebody who'd like to change it, make that a code change proposal that we'll separately consider, but not to put this in the integrated draft as our starting point.
So Dwayne, my understanding from Greg was that approved source is a new definition in this code cycle, so it has not existed before. Is that true, Greg?
That is true.
Okay.
And this was a unanimous work group. I mean, given there's only 3 folks, but it was all 3 folks unanimously crafted this and looked at where it was used to kind of determine what the impact was.
Just to be clear, the work groups are unofficial and don't vote on things, but it's good to know that there was consensus among the 3 people.
So I would, does this need a motion? Like my motion would be leave the existing one alone for now.
Use the first one because they're both
Yes.
new, but you're saying to adopt
right
the first one and not the second one. So that's
right.
the motion you're making.
Right.
Okay. Do we have a second for this motion?
Kim Barker, I'd second that.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, further discussion on this. Any new thoughts on the first one versus the second one on the screen? Kevin.
Hi, this is Kevin Rose with Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance. I just wanted to hopefully clarify the piece about it being a new definition. I think Dwayne was alluding to it earlier. So this approved source definition is new to the IECC, but it has existed. I just looked at the 2021 IBC, for example. And so it did exist in other I codes previously.
Okay.
So I guess it got pulled into the IECC because it started to be referenced specifically in the 2024 version, but just wanted everyone to have that knowledge and be clear on that as y'all get into voting. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Good information. Okay. I see no more hands up other than Dwayne's, who I think has said his piece. Okay. Well, let's take a roll call vote on this, and the motion is to use the first definition that we see on the screen, not the second definition. So the yes vote is for the first definition. No vote means we need to reconsider something, or we need to take a different motion later. Okay, so let's just go down the list and vote.
Marty Brennan,
Yes.
Kim Barker,
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson,
Yes.
Eric Bedell,
Yes.
Sean Bigg,
Abstain.
Greg Johnson,
No.
Nathan Miller,
Yes.
Irina Respetness,
Then,
abstain.
correct.
Thank you. Sorry. Kevin Duell,
Abstain.
Shailesh Desai,
Yes.
Larry Andrews,
Larry, I did not hear you.
No.
Okay.
I got on mute.
Okay, I heard you that time. No.
Lisa Rosenau,
Yes.
Irina Sarsova,
It's Susorova.
Susarova, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Lone Richie,
Yes.
Liz Reichart,
Yes.
Marcus Verta,
Yes.
and Alessandra De La Torre. Oh, no, sorry, Deepa Savat.
Yes.
Sorry. So it looks like we have 12 yes, 2 no, and 3 abstain, so that would pass.
Okay, motion passes. We now have an approved source definition. That was work group number 1. Work group number, or so it was work group number 2. Work group number 3, fossil fuel equations. Greg or anybody else, do you have a
We have
recommendation?
no recommendation yet. That's a bigger issue. So we've got some emails that went back and forth, but we have not met, and we're waiting until after we do the service water heating and the space heating because those are directly impacted. So once we've gone through those red lines, then we'll meet.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks for all your work on that. And ideally, if you could get your recommended language, if there is any recommended language, to or minority reports or whatever, to the group a few days ahead of our next meeting, that would be spectacular.
And I'm envisioning this probably be code change proposal because it'd be pretty significant either way. So
Yeah, I guess, yeah. To be clear, the only thing we're considering now is if there is language in the IECC 24 that is better than the Washington State Energy Code 21. So it could be that the recommendation is leave it as is, and there'll be multiple code change proposals, I'm sure, about it. That's what I would expect. But if there's any great things we can do now that are based on the 2024 IECC, that would be fine as well. Okay. All right. Those were our work groups. So let's go back to where we left off last time, which was, it was around, do you remember where we were, Krista?
I was in the beginning of C402 somewhere. We kind of skipped around a little bit.
Okay. So now we're going to go back to our normal, regularly scheduled program where we scroll through once we find the right place. We'll scroll through and we will use the redlined updated language unless someone wants to discuss these specific provisions. So just raise your hand and then we can discuss. So is this about where we were?
Yeah, I know we discussed the U value table or the R value table. And there were some minor changes to that based on the discussion. So we might want to take another look at them as they've been modified. But that's about where we left off, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here we are. So as Krista slowly scrolls through the code, raise your hand if you have any suggestions or recommendations for the tag to consider. And to be clear again, the black is the 2021 Washington State Energy Code commercial, and the red is the 2024 IECC language. And our task is to make the code more stringent if the 2024 IECC is more stringent, or not adopt the language if the 2024 IECC is not more stringent. Go ahead, Larry.
Can we give us time to get caught up to where we're at before we're moving through this stuff? I haven't even got turned to the right page yet. Thank you.
Okay, we can pause for 20 seconds and get up to the right page. Okay, so as you see on the screen, there's a bunch of red line language on the screen. It is from the 2024 IECC. Dwayne, looks like you had a comment on the CMU C402.1.2.1.2. Do you want to say anything for or against what's on the screen?
Well, concrete masonry units, integral insulation. It talks about how you determine compliance with the table, but in our state code, those don't have to comply with the table. So there isn't any point, unless somebody can think of some reason that you have to determine the U factor of those CMU walls with integral insulation. Okay, maybe now I'm thinking of maybe a good reason to argue with myself, because the CMU with integral insulation exception applies to 15 specific building types, right? And so I guess this could be used for some other building type that wants to use that value. So tell you what, can you delete my comment there?
Okay. Uh-oh, skipped ahead. Okay, we'll find ourselves and then start scrolling again through this Larry.
Can we put a note in there about those 15 building types that this doesn't apply to? Okay, so there's some clarification there. I mean, Dwayne brought up a good point about those. And it would be nice to have a little footnote in there that says that those 15 building types don't apply to that. Okay.
Like a C section.
Right.
I personally not support that change, because the first part of the sentence says determining compliance with the table, the U value table, and in that table it says that you don't have to comply. So I don't think another note here is needed.
That makes sense. The section Krista is in right now is the
footnote.
Yeah, that table C4 2.1.3 was that? C4 2.1.3.
1.2, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's also in the 1.2 table.
Right.
I just happen to be right there. So this is the same one for the 1.2.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me. It's already adequately referenced.
Yeah, I think Larry's concern is covered.
It will continue scrolling through.
And then here is where I added the additional values from the 2024 IECC table.
They're basically alternate compliance factors for convenience. Larry.
If you back up in the table there, hold it right there, steel frame. So in our table, it showed R19 plus an R5.8, right? 8.5. So are we talking about eliminating that? I can go with adding it But I don't think we should eliminate something that we've already have in there. I mean, it's another option. You see steel framed where
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
you're scratching out something that's been a practice and you're inserting something new, but you're not allowing the practice that's been being used. So why can't we add the additional writing and leave the scratch out there? I mean, not scratch it out, leave it there, just add the additional.
Because our rule that we're following here is that we're going with the more stringent of the two. Right?
No, that if it's the more stringent of the two, that would only leave you one to choose from. Now you have three additional to choose from. So it'd be much more restringent to leave it the way it is. I think there's something wrong with our formula here of what we're trying to do here. I mean, I would think you would want to give the building industry as much options as you can to achieve what they need to achieve. And restricting it, I think I don't like that goal that we're trying to achieve here right now in this format for this particular thing. I think we need to give builders the option to do more with less.
So
Okay.
Larry, I guess what I see here is R19 plus R8.5 CI is stricken and R20 plus R9 CI is added. And I guess you're saying R20 plus R9 CI is.
If you can't tell me that R0 plus R15.2 is more restrictive than R19 plus R5.5, I would like to know how that ever computes. Okay. You tell me which one has got more insulation value there. Okay. I think what we should do is allow the builder to have the option to choose from all four of those in this particular case.
Do you see that R20 plus R9 is at the last one in the list?
Right. But why wouldn't he choose R15.2?
Well, it's flexibility. I guess if you look at the top one that's stricken and the bottom one that is added, it's R19 plus R8.5 is stricken. R20 plus R9 is added. So they seem very reasonable. I realize that a lot of insulation is sold in R19,
right?
Not in R20. So
right.
I guess
Have you ever bought any R20 insulation? I've never bought any R20 insulation. I mean, I bought 21, but I've never seen R20 insulation in my life.
Well, R20 is the minimum, and remember that everybody always has the option of going with the U value tables as well to get any kind of combination that meets the U value.
Why do we want to restrict what a builder can do? Really? I mean, if in his area R19 is bought a lot more of, and he has R8.5, I mean, it becomes a buying issue here. I mean,
yeah, I guess I'm saying I guess why did we remove R19 plus R8.5? Was that simply because R19 plus R8.5 was in the Washington State Energy Code and IECC added the other three? Is that the reason?
Correct, because R20 plus R9 continuous is more stringent than R19 plus R8.5 continuous.
Yeah, but R0 plus R15 is below the original.
No, that's not true.
My hand has been raised for some time. Can I be recognized, please?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to let the discussion go where it wants, but Kevin, go ahead.
So the two numbers, the one on the left is between studs, and the one on the right is on top of the studs. The continuous insulation has a much, especially for steel framed, has a much higher insulative value than what's between the studs because of the conduction of the steel. So R20 plus R9 is definitely more stringent than R19 plus R8.5. However, to Larry's point, this is a pretty simple calculation. ASHRAE spells out how to do this. We could alter the R19 and add whatever it needs to be on the other side for the continuous to match the R20 plus R9.
But just one point of view here. So on the left side there, you've allowed the original to be there, but on the right side, you didn't. You see what I mean? So you're taking it one way and then you're taking it the other. So I believe let's give the builder the more options. Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks, Larry. Nathan.
The scratched out number does not provide the equivalent U factor as the U factor table if we use our Appendix A lookups. You would not achieve 0.055 U factor, which is what the U factor table tells us we need for a steel framed wall, if you use R19 cavity and R8.5 continuous in a metal stud 16-inch on center assembly. So if it was allowed, maybe that was an error, but it does not meet our current U factor minimum.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. Lisa.
Yeah, I was kind of going the same direction. R13 plus R10 is definitely not equivalent to R20 plus R9. And so I'm kind of confused by that for the exact same reason that Nathan did, that, you know, whatever combination of cavity and continuous insulation that we put in here under the, you know, minimum requirement table, they should line up with what the minimum U factors are. And I would say that R13 cavity plus R10 CI is not equivalent to R19 plus R8.5 CI. So I'm not sure. I would recommend striking that option, which I understand that may not be what Larry's looking for, but I don't think we should include that one because I think it's a step backwards. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, that's it seems reasonable to me. Irina, so can you
Susarova.
Susarova. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get it right someday. Thank you.
Not a problem. So R13 is the maximum amount of the cavity insulation you can stick into a 4-inch deep metal frame, versus R19 and R20 are for the 6-inch deep metal frame. So there's like a difference here. Just wanted to add it. I feel like they listed different depths of metal studs.
I'll just jump in real quick, Irina. That's a really good point. So perhaps instead of striking the R13 plus R10 CI, that we retain the R13 cavity, but the R10 CI needs to be increased so that it is equivalent to the minimum required U factor.
Just to keep us in our lane today, I don't think that's an option that we should explore today. We basically have a nearly binary option, which is to accept the 2021 Washington State Energy Code and say that's more stringent than the 2024 IECC, or take the IECC 2024 language. We can do one of those two things, and there's a few things we could do. We could accept the IECC 2024 language and strike the R13 plus R10 CI option. That would be available to us, but we're not going to change the numbers in the options. That's just going to be too much work today. We've spent several minutes on this yet so far, and I want to wrap this up pretty soon. It's important, but there's also code change proposals that will be accepted on this kind of thing that the TAG will consider next year. Greg.
I was just going to suggest that maybe we do this as a code change proposal And then when we do look at the code change proposal, I would just recommend that not necessarily changing the U value, because people brought up good points, but maybe adjusting the insulation values to match what's currently on the market. Being if you happen to reduce the cavity insulation, then increase the exterior insulation to, or vice versa, so that way they match what's commonly available.
Yep. And as was noted earlier, one can always do the U factor version and then get any combination out there.
I'd like to
thanks,
make a
Greg.
motion if I can.
Kevin's in front of you, but Kevin?
I was going to do the same, so go for it.
Lisa, you have the
Probably the
floor.
same, probably the same one. I'd actually like to make a motion because and the reason for this motion is because our task today is to adopt the most stringent between the two codes. So I'd like to make a motion to strike R13 plus R10 CI because it's a step backwards.
But accept the other red line language in steel framed buildings.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to do what's on the screen, which is to accept the 2024 IECC language, but remove the R13 plus 10 CI from it. That's the motion. Is there a second for it?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Kevin. Further discussion, Nathan.
If we want to rely on the Appendix A tables, it does say R13 plus R10 continuous achieves the required U factor. So that's why I'm going to vote against this.
Okay, good information, Nathan. Thank you. Do you want to put your hand down now? Irina Sosarova.
Yeah, you're just depriving designers from selecting a 4-inch deep metal studs this way because there is no way you can stick R19 insulation, cavity insulation into a 4-inch deep stud wall.
Thanks, Irina. Okay, we have a motion on the table and we're going to vote on it soon, Larry.
How can you restrict what is a common stud size? I think what we need to do is make the continuous insulation meet what needs to be required so the guy can achieve it if he only has 4-inch studs. Okay, I think we should program something in there, or if the R19 up there, the guy's got 5-inch studs or 5.5-inch studs. If we need an R9 on continuous, then we should have that. We should give these builders the option to do what they need to do with common products that they can buy. Okay, thank you.
I agree, Larry. I'm sure there'll be a code change proposal or two on this section, and I'm hoping for one from the people that are making comments on this. Kevin.
As a second, can I propose a friendly amendment?
Sure.
I guess that's all is possible. So the amendment would be to keep the R13 plus R10 CI, but and also accept the IECC red line.
Lisa, do you see that as friendly?
So basically reversing the motion.
Well, it would be to accept the red line and all the red line from IECC 2024 and including the R13 plus R10 CI.
And I had a question for Nathan, because you said, did you say that it is equivalent?
Yes, table A 103 3611 metal stud U factor table says it gets to 0.055, which is the U factor requirement from the U factor table.
Okay, thanks for checking that. I missed that. Actually, it'd probably be better for me just to remove it, the motion.
Withdraw the motion?
Withdraw the motion, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for checking, Nathan.
Okay, so there could be a motion to accept the what's on the red in the screen for steel frame buildings, or we could just move on, and when we make a motion to accept the whole thing, that would be included in that. But I want to make sure we get through the discussion on it today. So Kevin.
So moved on part one, what you just said.
Okay, so to accept the 2024 IECC red language on steel frame buildings.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on this motion? Okay, Lisa, you have your hand up. Okay, I'm going to do a voice vote on this. All in favor of this, say aye.
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 I,
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. So yeah, so we can continue scrolling on, and I'm sure there'll be a code change proposal or two. And just to be clear with everybody, when someone says, we will submit a code change proposal, the tag will not submit code change proposals. The tag is made of members, and members are more than welcome, and anyone in the public is more than welcome to submit a code change proposal. But the tag will not officially convene to make code change proposals. We will only accept code change proposals and review those.
I had a little note on C402.1.1.
Please.
The sentence says continuous above decked insulation board located above the roof deck. Seems redundant to me. It's a minor thing, but
roof deck, yes.
Things like that bother me. I'd suggest striking, making the sentence say continuous insulation board located above the roof deck.
I'd support that.
Makes sense.
Look, we just shortened the code by 2 words.
Makes sense. We don't really need a motion to do that.
Okay.
When we make the motion at the very end, it will include all the things we've discussed. Okay. Good catch, Kevin.
And just one other little languagey thing on the C402.2.5. That last sentence, I think the word for should be struck. I think installations complying with section blah blah blah. Oh no, sorry, never mind. Sorry. It's good.
Okay.
I'll miss the comma.
No, actually, no, let's reread that sentence. Or installations complying with section, oh, installation. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yep.
Chell, could we, I'm sorry, I think we passed by something back a page or two, 402.2.3.
Sure.
We
can always go back. I want people to feel free to do that.
The text is so tiny on my laptop, I'm having a hard time seeing where you are, but did we, oops. Did we take out that sentence about the cavity and continuous installation? Okay, no, that looks like that was fixed since I last saw this. Sorry, keep going.
Thanks, Dwayne.
I have another one at the bottom of 402.2.7, I think. There's that last rate is 70 millimeters per second. And I don't know, do we ever have just metric units in our code? Could maybe we just have a staff note there to that will figure out how many what the airflow is in inches per second and insert that, or are we okay just leaving it as 70 millimeters per second?
Yeah, if ASTM-C 1363 is in millimeters, then that would make sense.
Right, I think the C indicates that it's a Canadian standard.
And they just can't help themselves. If it's okay, if it's part of the standard, I guess we can continue on.
Well,
Go ahead, Larry.
Canadians told me yesterday they want to change the Canadian minute to 100 seconds too. So maybe that
Yeah.
Larry.
Well, I think that it is a good idea to have it in inches per second. Yep. I mean, because the guys out in the field, they ain't using any metric that I know of to speak of. I finally had to bust down and buy a metric tape measure the other day, but I mean, we use it once in the blue moon.
So. Okay. Can we have a staff note in here to just, it appears to be 2.7559 inches would be 70 millimeters. I don't know how many significant digits we want, but 2.8 would be one significant digit.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I have a question about the numbers in this table.
Sure.
Krista, could you call up the IECC values for solar heat gain coefficient?
It'll take me just a second.
I think we missed I think some of the updates got missed.
I thought I double checked it after the last meeting and they were the same, but I could have missed something.
Yeah. Yeah, it says for PF less than 2, fixed is maximum allows 0.36. There.
No, we're on 5 and Marine 4.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see. Yep, okay, you got it. Thank you. Yeah, you did pick those up.
Pam.
Yeah, apologies. I stepped away for a moment, so I don't know if this was covered, but the section numbering in the 24 code did change. So fenestration is C402.5.
Right, but that still doesn't work with the energy, the WSEC. Because we skipped a couple of sections that aren't adopted.
So we wouldn't reserve C402.4 and update numbering for fenestration to match the IECC?
No, that would require striking all of C402.4 and putting it all in C402.5, and so everything would be, it would be really hard to find where the changes are. Just because of the vagaries of how we need to file it with the code revisor's office.
Okay, let's keep going.
Minor editorial on C402.5.1. I think air barriers should be singular on the second sentence. The continuous air barrier is permitted to be.
Yep, I agree. It's usually singular, even if it's, yeah, should be singular.
Oh, and then one other thing about the air barriers. The last sentence has air barrier italicized. The previous ones don't. I think it is a defined term, but I don't know which is supposed to be which.
Air barrier is a defined term. So it should be
But
italicized.
they would all be italicized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. That looks like a pain.
Find
is
and replace.
Is continuous
Yeah.
air barrier defined? Or is
No,
it just...
I was just looking at that. Continuous air barrier is not a defined term. Air barrier is.
Okay, so there you go.
And I can do this offline, but I'm giving you guys a little bit longer to read through. And I'm sticking to that.
Sounds good.
Lisa.
Yeah, I have a question about, maybe this is a code change proposal, I'm not sure. But I have a question about exception 1. Because the language in provision C402.5.2 clearly states the required air leakage rate is 0.25. And then number 1 is an exception that says if it's greater than 0.25, then you have to conduct, do extra work until it is achieved. It seems kind of redundant. I mean, is that an exception to that language? I mean, it's not really getting somebody out of this requirement. It's just saying that if it doesn't pass the first time around, you got to do more until it does pass. So I'm just not sure if that's an exception.
That's a really good catch. It's not an exception. If anything, it should be another sentence in the paragraph above and not an exception.
Yeah, just take it out of the exception list and just, as Wayne just said, just put it up in the charging statement.
Because historically, we used to say, well, you could just go around and try to fix the leaks, and that was good enough, but that's not allowed anymore.
Larry.
But what happens if the building can't get there? What's the remedy?
There currently isn't a remedy in the code, as I understand.
So you just rip it down then?
Yeah, that's a good. I agree with Larry on this. I've been part of many of these, and to be fair, we've passed every one. So, but that makes a good point. What do you do if it doesn't pass? Like, say you're in the middle of, just say Moses Lake. Remember, we represent all of the state of Washington. What do you do? So maybe it's something that we have to figure out on this one. There has to be an exception of something.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. I mean,
it can, right?
I mean, sometimes they're a little more lenient how they're testing the instruments,
Yeah.
But I mean, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, there should be something that those building owners can do to, if you just can't get there.
Okay, Larry, I guess just to keep us in our lane and on time, I hear what you're saying. I think it's important. That's a code change proposal.
It's a code change proposal. Yep.
So
All right.
what I heard that we could do something about today is right now the exception is not useful or relevant. So I think eliminating the exception is an option we would have today. So we can discuss whether we want to eliminate the exception or put the exception language into the main body of the code or just eliminate it. I think those are valid things we can do today. But Larry and others, please submit code change proposals if you think there's something that needs to happen. So go ahead, Sloan.
I just wanted to note for Larry, there are some things you can do in the field to improve air leakage. There's products and methods for doing so that we've used in the past that are.
Thanks, Sloan. Nathan.
I'd like to make a motion that we move the kind of relevant language that's in exception 1, that's really just an addition, tells you what to do if you don't pass, up into the base language and strike the rest of exception 1 as it's redundant the way it's written. Does that make sense? What I did?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. The way I understand the motion is we would take the language that's not stricken in exception 1 and put that in the area before the exception.
That is what I implied. Yes.
We have a motion. We have a second.
That's what Krista's showing, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Is there further discussion on this motion? Okay, all in favor? Oh, I guess we would change exception 2 to exception 1. That
Yeah,
would
I'll
be
catch that through. It's the numbering can be tricky, so.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. I think that's a really good thing that will help people understand what's going on with the code, and code change proposals will be accepted the next few months. Okay. It's got an airplane going overhead. Nathan, you have your hand up. Okay, hand down. Do you have a
So
this one?
I didn't have time to go back and compare the IECC language. And I guess in the interest of time, I would just say I can do that later, but as a code change proposal. But for now, we just leave our state language in as Krista has done, and not change that.
Okay, that sounds very reasonable. Krista's awesome at doing this kind of thing, so doing what she suggests is almost always a good idea. Okay, we'll move on.
Oh, I already had it there.
So that area right there in green, that was the IECC language?
Correct.
Kevin.
So is the notion here to leave both or strike the IAC stuff?
From that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, strike it now.
Not include the IECC stuff would be
Okay.
the default.
I guess that's true.
And while we're scrolling through, feel free to unmute and just say something as well. You don't need to raise your hand. If it gets unruly, we'll go to that, but feel free to just speak up.
Chell, there related to your comment about the continuous insulation equivalents. As having looked at Appendix A again recently, I do think there's going to have to be some squaring up of those tables where we added tables to the Washington State Energy Code to approximate the calculations that are now part of the thermal bridging methodology. And so I do think there may be some recommendations or proposals we make to remove some of those tables so we don't do like a double adjustment for thermal bridging, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
It's complicated.
Yeah, and so you're saying we could perhaps just leave the Appendix A as it is and then accept code change proposals to. Hey, Krista, do we accept code change proposals to modify Appendix A?
Yes.
Okay. So is that what you're suggesting, Nathan? Is that it's not like one is a lot better than the other. We just need to go with one and then modify it to match the rest of the code?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
Yeah. That's what you're here for. So
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I don't have an immediate response to that.
okay. All right.
I got a question, Shell, and I think it's been talked about before. Is 402.6.1 exception 2. I mean, where you have that balcony and it's a poured in place deck. So how are you gonna separate that where the slider is and have that, you see what I mean? That thermal break where the slider is.
The sliding doors.
Or if you have a regular door, like is it the thresholds covering it then? Is that what we're counting on? Because there won't be any construction material there to bolt into. You see what I mean? When you're mounting that in there?
Yeah. So what I've seen is there's Isocorb is a manufacturer of these thermal brake devices that for cantilevered concrete balconies.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, it's, I don't know, an inch and a half thick or something like that, maybe 2. And it's very compressive so that you can have a cantilevered balcony on it. But you're right, you can't screw into it, I don't think.
You can't screw into it. So that means, I mean, if you got a 6-inch wall and you're going to have at least 2 inches there. So that means the screws aren't going to line up where they normally would. You see what I mean? I mean, you're going to have exposed screws and there isn't going to be very much material there to screw into.
No, the way that it's set up, and this is actually a very rarely used system because it's expensive, but the sill still fastens into the slab, and then that 2 inches is of rigid is just outside of the slab. And really in Seattle, since we haven't been allowing this for a while, like 98% of the residential decks now that hang off buildings are the kind of bolt in place type that they just swing up with a crane, and rather than being cantilevered concrete. So they found that to be more economical anyway. I'd suggest that we accept this language that is here. I think it's a good improvement on what was coming through ASHRAE and IECC before, and go ahead and look at Appendix A on what needs to be deleted from there.
So, Dwayne, in your opinion then, can you float that 2 inches either way? Or can you have an inch on one side, some concrete, and then an inch on the outside, so where you fasten it in the middle, you've got some concrete. Would that be acceptable to you, Dwayne, like that? Or
we're talking about a manufactured system that's very sophisticated and doesn't come that way.
Okay.
Greg.
I was just going to note that the change in exception number 2 is very significant. I mean, it's warranted and it's needed because data centers consume a lot of energy, but just wanted to highlight that it's a significant change.
Thanks, Greg. Could you expand on that? What?
Well, beforehand, you can see that data centers were pretty much exempt. You know what I mean? And so, and they're a huge load. I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest customer loads
Oh yeah.
there are. And so when you say that they are completely exempt from the space heating, and then all of a sudden you say, no, they have to comply, that's a huge change. But I mean, it's warranted. I mean, why should they have a free pass, especially when they're one of the biggest consumers of power?
No, we've had the reference to ASHRAE 90.4 for a while now, and this, right, to section 6, and that's what this reference to C403.1.3 is, which gets into that cooling efficiency for data centers, but that's not new.
Well, the language just said it was exempt from 403.4 and 403.5, which, I mean, I think that's good. I mean, I was just kind of highlighting a significant change. I'm for the change. I think
what
it's
it
needed.
means is that instead of using the regular code for mechanical systems, that it applies to just 90.4, which is just very specific to data center cooling systems, because just trying to apply the mechanical code to a data center system, as you know, gets kind of absurd in a hurry.
And I think we're in agreement that it's needed, that change is needed.
Yep. It is kind of bizarre in that it is in the exceptions category. It seems like you'd say it shall only need to comply, or you'd put it in the main body of the C403.1.
Well, that is a good point, because I think the reason why was there's an exception before that there was exempt from the heating and cooling system controls, and now it's does. So maybe we should just make that not an exception, just say it's part of the main body.
Makes sense to me.
I'd go with that.
Okay. Seems reasonable. So data center systems is a defined term. Yep, and data centers as well. Okay, that seems reasonable. We don't necessarily need a motion for this. We'll just accept it at the end when we make a motion to accept the whole thing.
Having said that, now you're saying there's an implication that mechanical systems have to comply with this section and data centers shall comply with these other subsections. They're not exempt from the rest of the section. So I think there was actually some logic in that being an exception. However, it could just say data center systems shall only comply.
Only need to comply. Was that the intent of the IECC language, do we think?
I don't know, because they have to have the same kind of fan system efficiency, and there's a number of other kinds of things that are required.
Okay.
Yeah, the C403.6 is the fan energy requirements.
If nobody has a great idea of what to do here, we can leave it with a red line as is shown on the screen and accept code change proposals if somebody thinks it a better language. I don't want to spend a lot of time dickering with good language.
Sounds good.
Lisa?
Yeah, I was actually going to agree with Kevin's point that actually right now where it's located, it does pretty much give data centers, says it only has to comply with these three provisions. So that's been our interpretation. So if we moved it up into the body or under the charging statement, then yeah, you would technically have to assume that the entire mechanical section applies to it. And you would specifically, I guess it doesn't accomplish anything by moving it up into the charging statement, where right now it's truly an exception to all other requirements except these three. That's the way we've read it.
But it could be clear if that's the intent, it shall only need to comply. Would be clearer if that's the intent, to at least to me. Ben.
So
thanks, Joel.
if you put exception in the exception, like exempt from this section, except section this and this, you know.
Well, I wasn't clear on what you were recommending, Shailesh.
Well, if we add a word in front of shall comply with, if we said and take out this strikeout and say but shall comply with section C40312 and so forth. So this way.
Okay. So data centers systems are exempt, comma, but shall comply with sections. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be clearer language.
Okay, Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I was just going to try to recommend that maybe looking at how like the base code is structured for the section. They don't use exceptions for C403.1. They just kind of list what different like sections are applicable pathways. So they have the three options in there for what's been revised for the 2024 IECC. So it might be worth trying to look at structuring it similarly or take an approach like you're talking about right now. But that's it. And I guess for the data center stuff, like a lot of they've integrated more of the requirements into the C403 sections now, so they're not wholesale referring to ASHRAE 90.4 is my understanding of some of the intent of the 2024 changes.
Thanks,
So,
Ben.
so Ben, what was your suggestion then?
So I guess what Krista has on the screen now is the 2024 IECC section, and they don't have exceptions for the kind of wholesale compliance with C403, and they just kind of list what applicable sections, and then they point out like the new C409 as an option as well. So I don't think that's going to be compatible with what Washington State currently has, but it might be worth kind of looking at how we have the state section structured if we want to follow suit. Thanks.
Is there something clear that we can do today that would make this better?
Like a code change proposal to me.
Yeah. I think today we could say data center systems are exempt, comma, but shall comply. We could certainly do that today. That would make it clear for the.
I'm nervous about that, Jill.
Okay.
Just because I don't know the extent of all the other things in 403 that might apply to data centers still.
Okay. So let's leave it as is, as written right now. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay. We will move on and please somebody submits a code change proposal to rectify the issues we talked about.
I'm sorry, just so I understand, we just scrolled past TSPR, and for the previous discussion, this is where TSPR lives in Washington State, whereas the IECC has moved it to C409, but we had that whole discussion about potentially not accepting the IECC. I'm just making sure I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Subject to the tag could do something else if we want.
Right now, could I suggest, unless somebody has an objection, that we skip past the next 20 pages or whatever it is of mechanical system tables instead of scrolling through them slowly?
Well, if there's no changes, we can easily just skip ahead. Or
Well, there are changes, but
Yeah, there are little
there are
changes and updates. But
ASHRAE
does
change.
yeah, is anybody intending to get into the details of specific numbers that have changed since the last edition of the code in the tables?
Well, I think scrolling through can be done in a minute or two.
Okay.
So, and I'll bring up Lisa. Do you have a?
Yeah, actually, I have a detail I wanted to point out in one of the tables, so.
Okay, never mind.
Just one.
Never underestimate the technical nature of this group. All right. So what, Lisa, did you want to talk about?
The warm air furnace table, which is actually was something that was handled by the MVPE committee just recently.
Which number was that, Lisa?
Oh, let me see.
40332 parentheses 5.
Thank you. Yes, so stop there. So yeah, we adopted the new table, which is great. That's what the official opinion lined up with. However, in the first row where it says see if informative appendix F, table F-4, that is an ASHRAE appendix. So if you go look at the footnote that goes with that, which one is it?
F.
That
F.
one. It should say see ASHRAE 90.1 informative appendix F.
Good catch.
So what's the gist of it? I mean, yeah.
I can let you know quickly, Larry. The table that is in the 2021 code was missing a lot of corrections that were needed. For this particular table, there were a lot of with regards to the application capacity. Yeah, I can send you the official opinion information so that you can see the gist of it. And the only other thing I was going to mention about this is that in this table, we are still listing equipment that with the application location is outside the US, where, I mean, if it's outside the US, it isn't going to be in Washington State. So I don't know if perhaps it's just a cleanup item in Washington State, we would strike those rows, but it doesn't hurt to leave it. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, I just defaulted to have the tables as they're printed in both ASHRAE and IECC, but we can modify them if you want.
It's a pickup. Maybe the committee has an opinion about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just suggest that when this goes out, that everything that's outside the US per the application location is stricken from the table.
Yeah, that would eliminate a column and make the text a little more readable too.
Where are we at with the steam boilers? Where can you scroll to where the steam boilers are? Where are we at there?
This is only, I'm going to comment on the warmer furnaces.
Yeah.
There's a couple little typos. Geez, greater than 400,000. Near the top there. Okay, so go to the right 2 cells and up 1 cell. There you go, to the right 3 cells now.
Thanks.
Other way.
Give them a good tip.
Right, keep going there. It says before the B should be not a superscript.
Yeah, good catch. I just spotted that too.
Same with the one below, yeah.
Little stuff. And actually what we just did where it says ASHRAE 90.1 informative appendix F, table 4.7 in the first row for gas, we also need to make that same edit for oil.
And Larry, the steam boilers are in the next table. They're still there.
Oh, yeah, and then I seen something when you were scrolling by, something like at 92 or 94%. What was that about? So
Yeah, right now we're
maybe that was further down.
So is the edit to remove that column inside outside the US and just say the rows that are to say outside the US are going to be removed? Are those editorial then, Krista? So we don't have to tackle them as a tab?
Yeah, that's not something I want to try to
Fair enough.
do here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And just a side note, you can look up ASHRAE 90.1 read only for free. So this isn't you got to go buy another book kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the footnotes for N, it does point to ASHRAE. I think, let me scroll down, look at that. Whatever footnote that is.
That was F, right?
A, oh, I see. Appendix N is actually
right there, 96. Well, what are we talking about here? Are these inside the building?
These are electric too.
electric warm air furnaces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're not in the boiler table yet.
Okay.
And yeah, Appendix N equals test standard 10 CR 430 Appendix N. So yeah, that's clear. Yeah. Great.
Should it be on all of those specifications then, test standard?
I don't know. What is the committee thing?
What's the question?
No,
Should
that's okay.
all of these specify test standard in front of this section?
No, I
Or
think
just,
those are fine. They're fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Appendix N equals test standard, but that's fine. That the rest of them they list test standards, so they're already there.
Okay.
I think that was all I had for this table.
Thank you, Lisa. And everybody.
I had a question here. The hot water boiler gas fired minimum efficiency for that mid-range has gone down. Is that because of the standard change from ET to EC? I think that's true.
Yeah, it's a different test standard.
So it's not a reduction in efficiency, it's just a different way of measuring it, as I recall.
I don't know if you'd want anybody to have an 87% efficient boiler oil, because that makes like tar in the tubes in a few years, and then you're totally tearing the thing down because it condenses all that. It's not a good thing.
Well, besides, I don't think we're empowered to change any of these.
Yeah, I know.
That's
any
true.
of these numbers.
They're
So we can
federal, so
just leave them all alone.
I don't know anybody running that kind of efficiency in an oil boiler because of the problems it has, especially so.
And then I'm assuming you want to.
Good catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say in these tables too, this also is reflected in the official opinion too. So it's good that we're lined up with what was just decided by the MVPE committee.
Oh man, a vertical orientation table. What have we done?
Well, that one went away. It
But
got replaced by one that I had to insert a legal size sheet of paper to try to fit it in there and still be legible. So I'm not sure how this will end up in the code.
So you had a note here, Krista, on a new section.
Yes.
Yes, we'll see
Let
that.
me skip forward to that one.
Okay.
You're skipping ahead to that?
Yeah.
Can you suggest we have a working group on this? Will everybody read it a little bit? It is basically noon, and so we're going to take a 15-minute break very soon. So if we want to spend some time on this, why don't we take a break right now? And then we'll be back at 12:15 to reconvene. So see you all on the other side of lunch. 12:15. All right, welcome back from lunch, everybody. I'm still eating, so I'm going to be turning off my camera for a bit. We are through a little over a third of the integrated draft. So we need to keep going with some speed, making things better. I think we've done pretty well this morning to make progress on it. So here we are to 4.3.4.13. And Kim.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to step away for just a little bit, so I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Dwayne?
Yeah, just reading through this. This section is about controls for humidification systems, and I think it's completely compatible with leaving our earlier thing that was back in 403.3.2 in place. It just says you have to have that it has to be an adiabatic type system. So I think instead of one or another, we keep both.
So we keep what's in red, but also what's in earlier as well. Okay.
I would just want to state that I'd appreciate it if they had different titles.
What
So you
type-
don't have
Go ahead, sorry.
One of them is called humidification, while the other one is called humidification control, right?
Right, but then you have, I suppose, a humidification under humidification controls. It it just got weird.
Yeah.
Larry.
I have a hard time living with what they said there, because in our area, in the Spokane area, in the summertime, our air outside is 20%. And then you turn the air conditioner on and it drops below into the 10% range of humidity. And so we're constantly using steam humidifiers to inject downstream of the coil humidity back in the air, so people don't have nose problems with being so dry. It's so dry that that's why we have allergy problems over here. It's so dry. In fact, some of the allergists send people from Spokane to the west side because it's too dry. They said they need to live on the west side because of how dry it is. And by not allowing us to use steam humidifiers to produce humidity, that's wrong. That's definitely wrong. The most percentage of humidification is done with steam humidifiers anymore. So in our arid, when we're arid like we are, it wouldn't, you guys don't care over on the west side. You got plenty. You're trying to get rid of it.
This sounds like a code change proposal, Larry.
Well, I mean, I can't accept having that language in there the way it is like that, because to me, this was put together from the South. And that's the way a lot of the equipment is put together, because the majority of the country has too much humidity. Okay. But here, east of the Cascades and west of the Rockies, if you take that swath all the way down from the border down, we all have tremendous problems with not having enough humidity in the air, and it causes a lot of sickness. And so we're constantly injecting, and the only way I know how to inject humidity you have to inject it past the coil, or otherwise the coil's taking out what you're putting in. So you inject it past the coil to bring the humidity levels up. And so by not allowing electricity to be used for humidification is wrong in our area. And I could never accept that. So.
Thanks, Larry. Are there other ways other than steam to get humidity? You said there's not.
There's not. Normally, usually you use a bypass humidifier if you just want to raise humidity up, like on the heating side, but you can't do that on the supply side of the unit. So it's needed in our area. It's extremely needed. And in my own home, that's what I do, is because I have a lot of allergies. And when it gets below 40%, I start having a lot of problems. Okay.
No, that's really good input. Thanks, Larry. Eric.
Yeah, I have a comment on, it's two parts on this. I agree with Larry on this particular point, right? Humidification control shall not use fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuels are out of the, get it. But the electric to steam humidification that we use in our region to just humidify is the standard route, right? Right now we are doing that on multiple projects. It could be a laboratory, it could be ASCs that use humidification. It's not particularly hospitals, right? Hospitals have humidification, but it could be a B occupancy ASC. I heard abiotic from you, which would be like a nozzle style. I haven't seen one project that used humidification, even on the Western Washington side, use a nozzle style or an ultrasonic humidification. We just don't use that here. And by removing that, I think we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot. That's the first thing. The second thing is, who wrote this? Humidification shall not use fossil fuels or electricity to produce relative humidity above 30%. I'm curious to understand that without even doing a code request change. How did that even get in here?
This is IECC language for
So that's
2024.
IECC wrote that. That's very interesting concept. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna have to be voted on as a code change. I mean, I just can't see us taking away electricity to produce steam for humidification in our state. Maybe not even on Western Washington, but as Larry mentioned, in the dry parts of our state, like Spokane, it would be it'd be very difficult to produce humidification in these scenarios if that's warranted.
Question for you. What's the humidity level that you would be shooting for typically?
So I have two projects right now that have humidification in it, Dwayne. One is a large laboratory in Renton. We are shooting for minimum levels at 30% up to 60% with a 50% humidification. That's for a BSL-3 lab and then the associated laboratory space. The second is a B occupancy ambulatory surgery, which is considered an OR. And that is as per ASHRAE guidelines. I mean, the dead band on that is a little bit tighter. I think it was 40 to 60 is what the engineer PAE is shooting for on that particular one.
So those both comply with the exceptions.
Nope, no, it doesn't. Hospital, that is not a hospital. That is a B occupancy ambulatory surgery. There's a big difference there. It's a B occupancy.
But there is a requirement that we have to follow for healthcare facilities to maintain the humidity.
Then we have to change hospitals to healthcare, and then we have to include laboratories, right, as the exception. I don't see a laboratory that has.
Well, it says it says such as museums and hospitals.
Yeah, see, but that's I hate using the such as, right? It's again, I'm just trying to get specific. You could be a code official and read that and say, no, you're not in an I occupancy, you're not in a hospital. You need to follow this code. Maybe that's why we need a code modification request, and maybe that's comes from me. So I'm just blown away by that. It was included in IECC that you can't use electricity to produce steam, but we'll get through it just like everything else. A lot of other people have comments.
And Larry and other things, exception 2, would that, if you look at exception 2, would that address your situation, Eric, that you brought up?
System serving zones where you are required to be maintained with precision of not more than 5%. With applicable codes or accreditation standards as approved by the authority. See, and that's the other thing. We're putting it into the approved by the authority having jurisdiction. So if the AHJ though doesn't approve, what do you do at that point? I guess you use abiotic.
There's an or in front of that, and before the or is accreditation standards, which is probably what the surgery center would be attempting to meet.
it would trump everything, right?
Yep. So if it met accreditation standards, then exception 2 would allow that.
Okay, that's a fair response. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying
it's a get out of jail free card, I guess you could call it, right? Or exception.
So accreditation standards could be for hospitals, or it could be for manufacturing facilities, or anything that has a required humidity level. I don't know if that addresses all the issues, but it might address some of them.
10-4. I'll let other people speak. There's a bunch of hands. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of things to say on this one.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Kevin.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you, Shell. I don't suggest we scroll back, but the section on humidification requires adiabatic unless you're a healthcare facility, or there's some other exceptions too. So it's not new language that it's adiabatic. This section is just controls, and it seems like there's some alignment needs to be made here, because I don't see a clear correspondence between the equipment spec on the in C403.3.2.7 and then the controls over here. There's gonna have to be some adjustments made there, I think. Yeah, guess that's what I want to say. Thank you.
So I guess, are you suggesting maybe a working group needs to look at this in more detail and correlate those two things?
Oh, good question. Yeah, I mean, that or just noted as a proposal is needed because it doesn't quite align. Because the exceptions in the equipment code spells out healthcare facilities licensed by the state, and it referenced some WAC chapters. Whereas this says, you know, such as museums and hospitals. I think there needs to be just some alignment of the language. I guess that is a work group.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Lisa.
Yeah, I'm just reading exception 1. It seems kind of, I don't know, maybe technical terms, squishy language. You know, it says where approved, you know, system serving zones where specific humidity levels are required, such as, I mean, it just, jurisdictions do not like to see this kind of language because it's so loose. I mean, and really, any designer could make the case then, you know, based on this language that, you know, their facility has specific humidity level requirements. And so it seems pretty wide open as written. And then the other question I have, and maybe it's more global question, with regards to EPCA, does the tag have any responsibility when we spot something in the language that could be considered limiting, that could be an EPCA violation?
Are you specifically looking at the fossil fuels or electricity?
Yeah, it says that, you know, you can't use fossil fuel or electricity for the purpose
So
of.
EPCA has a list of a certain number of appliances.
Mm.
And if it's on that list, then it, per the Ninth Circuit, can't be eliminated from possibility of being used. But I don't know if humidistatic equipment is on the list or not. But that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Can I speak now?
Please, Larry. Yeah.
You know, if everybody kept their humidity at 50%, there wouldn't be any viruses or bacteria because in all surgical rooms, they have to be maintained 50% to keep viruses and bacteria out. And so if we look over here in Spokane, with it being so low, this is one reason why we have so many problems with people getting sick in the summertime. When you have a certain amount of humidity in the air, when a person sneezes or lets go something, when there's humidity in the air, that particulate doesn't go very far, okay? And it goes down to the ground and then gets removed. That's why you don't sleep on the floor, okay? You sleep on a raised up surface. So the ideal humidity level is 50% for the human being. And by the only way you can get there over here that I know of is with steam humidifiers. And by not putting that in, you're going to make us a lot less healthy. Okay. And that there are going to be some of us that, like me, I'm going to put it in anyway. I don't care because I'm not going to put up with not being healthy. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Greg.
I was going to add, based on this this discussion and the insights from Eric and everyone else, does it make sense to not accept this section for now and then form a working group to add it back in because it seems like there's enough problems? I mean, I don't know if Eric, if you have any thoughts, does that seem like a good approach?
Oops. You know, oh, I'm unmuted. I do. I think there's two things, right? It's the fossil fuels. I get it on the EPCA side. I don't know if it is part of the list of appliances or not. That's a great comment, Lisa, that you just had. If humidification is currently in that list, don't know. Probably could do a quick Google search and figure it out. But the second part is in the state, in just my experience, is that we have not used evaporative cooling to provide humidification. We do not use what I would call a nozzle style humidification. There's enough problems. They're very hard to control, those type of systems. And we've either used fossil fuels, which has gone the wayside. I'm going to be honest with you. We don't really use fossil fuel or gas to steam generation, but the go-to for the the mechanical engineering community has been using electric to provide humidification in different scenarios, laboratories, and OR rooms being two of them. Maybe it's a tech firm or something that wants humidification during the middle of winter. Don't know. There's a lot of these applications. So to remove electricity, I'm still going to stand by my initial statement. I think that's not prudent. We're pushing real hard, and maybe a secondary code or a code modification request needs to be done. Either way, I don't think we vote on that today. We could leave it. We could do a code. There's multiple different ways to get this through, Greg.
So what about if I put it through a motion to not accept this for now, and then for someone else to do a work group later to do code change proposals?
Yeah, and probably the only thing I would say for this code change is I would just remove electricity. That's it. And then, like Lisa, you mentioned the squishy language. I like that how you use that term, right? Such as museums and hospitals that were taken from the IECC.
So I believe that's my motion to not accept this for now and do it and revisit with the work group to address it.
Okay, we have a motion, which is to not accept the red language that's on the screen. And if you scroll down, we'll get to the bottom of the. Is that, Greg, can you elaborate on which red language?
This whole section of the humidification, dehumidification controls.
Okay, all the way down to, yep, okay. It's not on the screen anymore, but it was. Okay, so the main section and then the three subsections, including control, interlock, humidification, and dehumidification. Okay, that's the motion. It's been seconded. Is there further discussion on this?
I have a point of clarification. So the work group that would be formed would be to develop a code change proposal, or a work group for the integrated draft phase?
Greg?
Either or. I mean, if the work group can come up with something before the end that they feel is good enough, then we can revisit. If it's something too significant, then maybe it's a code change proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, it does seem like, Eric was suggesting removing the word electricity from there. That could be a simple one.
It's a simple, and then on the exception one, it would be, something of, we would probably remove such as museums and hospitals. I think that is just such a interesting statement as it is, right? It's really that simple.
I would even say taking out the word where approved. Or just system serving zones where specific humidity levels
are required.
Take out such as, keep it more direct.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to not include this, but it sounds like there's other people that think we could just simply include it with a few modifications and be good. So how about a couple of people get some language that they think is good and then send that in, and we could approve or not approve this motion now, and then reconsider it at the next meeting whether we want to include the language with a few modifications.
Yeah, and I could take it. It's really easy. I could take the language and send that over to you, Shell, and then I'll send it to Gregory. I'll send it to Lisa. I'll send it to applicable Larry, and it will basically just be striking some of the language. if that makes sense. And we'll just vote on it next.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's a
sounds good.
that's a great way to go.
Okay, so do you want to withdraw your motion, Greg, and then we just won't vote on it this time?
Or would it be best just to table this section? Would that be a better to withdraw the motion than just I table this section of code until we have?
Yeah, I don't know that we need to table it. I mean, we can just move on and come back to it next
Okay.
time.
Yep. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
This is Dwayne. Could you include me on that little
Yeah.
email round? I'm
You got it,
interested.
Dwayne. Yeah.
This is Sid, alternate for mechanical. Can I be included on that as well?
You got it, Sid. And I'm just assuming, Sid, I got Dwayne's email address. Sid, I would imagine you're on that email, that long list of contacts. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
10-4.
Okay. We'll go back up to where the humidification started. Thank you, everybody. I think that was a great way to resolve it. Greg, your hand is still up.
Sorry.
No worries. Elizabeth.
Yeah, I just have a question. That was a lot of people on that email chain. I just want everyone to be aware that you're not creating a quorum with that chain of emails. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, a majority of the tag cannot email each other. So I think there were like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, so I have Dwayne, Sid, Greg, Larry, and Lisa. And then you're going to be CC'd, Shell.
Yeah, so that would not be a quorum because we have that's not a majority of the tag members.
And sorry, Krista, you'd be also CC just because I CC always you, Krista, in any of these correspondence.
Thank you.
Yep.
Lisa.
Just a quick question. What does newly installed mean? Anybody know? Does that mean a boiler installed in a new building or?
You can see it was just stricken from the end of the sentence and put back up at the front of the sentence.
Yeah, that's interesting. For newly installed boilers. All right. I'm just curious what that means.
It makes no sense to me.
I think it could be addition to a existing building, but additional capacity.
I mean, isn't this code about everything newly installed?
Yep.
So it seems like should just say boiler systems with a combustion fan, blah, 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 blah.
That I think it would make the language a little bit more clear, just having that in there. And I know it was there before. I don't disagree with you, Dwayne. But
I guess to say boilers or boiler systems.
yeah, boilers or boiler systems and just be done with it.
Larry.
So I guess maybe I'll make a motion to strike those 2 words to make this section.
We don't need a motion. You can just suggest they be stricken, and if anybody has any issues with that, they can bring that up, and then we might need a motion if people disagree about something.
Okay.
Larry. I don't hear you, Larry.
How about now?
Now I hear you.
Okay. I think 10 horsepower is way too low for oxygen concentration controls. I mean, I think that's like 330,000 BTUs. I mean, that's ridiculously low. You don't put those kind of controls on that size of boiler. You don't put oxygen concentration controls onto something that maybe 15 million BTUs. Okay, it's just not done. And I don't think it's readily available.
This is existing language, Larry.
I know, but I'm telling you, it ain't readily available. It is not there.
Well, that's
If
for
you're,
the fan, that's for the fan size, not the boiler size.
it says horsepower.
Yeah, it says boiler system with a combustion
Okay.
air fan
Okay.
with a motor nameplate horsepower.
Okay. Well, that's probably fair.
All right.
But then it goes down below. Here's the kicker. Newly installed inputs of 5 million. 5 million is still pretty low for that type of equipment. I'm telling you that. I mean, 7.5, maybe 10 million. We're talking something pretty good size that has that. 5 million. I have to check, but I don't think that's hardly available on something like that.
So Larry, this is existing language that has no
I'm
ability to change it today, but certainly a code change proposal would be warranted, depending on what you find out.
You usually put those type of controls on something that's relatively large, like something that would be at a hospital, or I mean a large hospital, or Eastern State Washington, something like that, that you got 10 million BTUs running. Because
Okay. Well, just to keep us on track today, this is not in order discussion. We can't change this today, so let's do a code change proposal, Larry, or find somebody else to do one. I just want to keep us on track. Does that make sense, Larry?
Sure.
Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, and I'm looking ahead at the next section that also says newly installed boilers. So I'm thinking we have to go back and put that back to align with existing. Basically undoing what Lisa and I did. That just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense. And someone could do a code change proposal to remove newly installed, or find a better way to word it if it's not clear.
So one other question then. I mean, suppose we go out and change the burner instead of the whole boiler. Are we talking the whole boiler change out, or when we're doing a burner change out? Because what we do is we go into these boilers and the burners burn up, okay? And now I've got a choice of what to do, but I'm not going to be able to get all this into an existing burner to make this happen a lot of times, okay? So, I mean, if we got a whole new boiler that we're putting in there and we're taking the roof out and the walls out to get the sucker in, that's one thing. But a lot of times the boiler is in good shape, but the burners failed. And so we would change the burner out. And we do the best we can with what we have. And we can normally get 83% on a steam boiler and maybe 85 with a hydronic boiler with our combustion shots. But then the reason why I talk about this oxygen concentration, that means about every 2.5 or 3 years, you have to buy new sensors to put in there. And those sensors are not cheap. Okay. They're thousands of dollars. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. I think keeping newly installed is fine, and I think that does get into when this section is triggered by a retrofit. If you have an existing boiler, it just means some of this stuff might not apply to that. So that makes sense to me. Let's keep going.
I'll say I'll go ahead and take that language on and see if we can come up with slightly better wording so it's a little clearer, but it's existing. So yeah, I'll do a code change proposal on it. So
Sounds
Larry,
great.
has some feedback. I'll be happy to hear it when we do that.
Sounds great, Lisa. Okay, let's keep going. Got an hour and 15 minutes left. Let's see what we can get to. I guess while we're here, one of the only other work groups that I wanted to talk about today was for lighting power density. They're the LPA and LPA tables. We might need a group. Okay, since we only have one more meeting left after today, I want to make sure any work group that is needed forms today, so that when we come back in 2 weeks, we can finalize the integrated draft. So the LPA tables, I'll bring that up in a little bit, but think about whether you would want to look at that as a part of a work group. And we'll keep going, keep scrolling right now. Okay. See what's on the screen. Is there any comments on this? This is an exception for economizers. Okay.
Wait. And this is an issue where the IECC has different standards adopted for the mechanical code versus the energy code. And I would think we'd want to be consistent in that adoption. So I would tend to say that we would go ahead and upgrade this to the 2022 edition of ASHRAE rather than keeping it at the 2019.
It's Krista, Lisa.
Sorry, I just caught back up with that exception that Krista brought up. for economizer. Sorry, I just want to read it really quick. So it's talking about DX fan coils or unitary equipment capacity less than 54,000 BTUs installed with the DOAS. It also says multiple stages of compressor capacity. I'm curious, how does that differ from exceptions 1 and 1A, 1B? And perhaps, nobody's really looked at this yet to sort out if we're creating a wrinkle or not.
Well, 1A, 1B is for specific occupancies.
Yes. Right, and this new exception appears to not have those same limitations.
Well, 1A is for everything except R2 and the other, and 1B is R2, right? So it
Right.
includes everything,
Right.
but it doesn't have a 54,000 BTUH limit.
It doesn't, so I'm just wondering if I have to think about this for a second. Maybe not doing it on the fly is maybe not the right way to do it.
We have other mechanical engineers on the call. Can you guys
Anybody else
weigh
have?
in?
Yeah, that's why I threw that comment in there. I wasn't sure what to do with it.
Yeah.
Larry.
Looks like this is one of the old rule coming back.
Yes.
Well, no, it's not the old rule coming back. It's because you already have a dedicated outdoor system. So if you already have a dedicated outdoor system, hopefully you've got HRV or something on it. Why would you want an economizer? I mean, I think that's reasonable myself. I mean, I've got a HRV system that's dedicated outdoor system. And so why would I spend any more money when it's already done for me? Probably better. Okay. Other than unless we're trying to get cooling at night when it's cool out. Now that makes sense. But I mean, for the outdoor air part, it wouldn't make sense. So maybe what you need to say is maybe you got to have the, I guess I just talked myself out of it, because if you want to get the cooling part of it, then you'd want it. But okay.
Well, Larry, I think you're making I appreciate your comments on that. When I read 1A, it's, as Dwayne noted, it's for other than group R2 occupancies, cooling systems where the supply fan is not installed outside the building thermal envelope nor in a mechanical room adjacent to, right? So that would be, anything outside, right? If it's an indoor unit, and as long as you've got a DOAS, then you can take exception to economizer. I think that exception from the IECC overlaps it and muddies the water. I don't think we need it, but I could be wrong. I think we already have it covered in 1A.
Larry?
So maybe you should make a motion.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we strike the new exception 11.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Larry. Motion and a second. The motion is to not accept the exception 11 from the IECC. Ian.
I just had a question on, I guess, what is considered unitary. Are split systems considered unitary? And then I'm starting to think about ductless systems and economizers and how this might fit in with that.
Yeah, unitary does include split systems, and that's kind of the point of the language in 1A. 1A is basically saying as long as the unit's not sitting outside, in direct connection to the outdoor air, or adjacent to that. If it's an indoor unit, like you say, VRF or anything like that, then you can take exception as long as you.
Wait. If it's an indoor unit that is not in a space that's adjacent to the outside, so
correct.
It's only exempting like some system that's deeply buried in the building doesn't have a way to connect to the outdoor air.
Correct.
Well, keep reading though, because at the last part it says, and serving only spaces with year-round cooling loads from lights and equipment of less than 5 watts per square foot, which is also in 1B. So that's very specific. That's like a little equipment room, basically, or a tiny server room. This other exception is, you name it, right? The new exception 11.
That's right. I think, unless I'm making sure I'm understanding this right. It feels like this exception is more lenient than what's in the current code.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is why I'm thinking we should strike it.
Yeah.
We have that motion on the table, and does anybody have any more comments on it before we vote? Okay, the motion is to not include what is now exception 11 from the IECC. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. We have stricken what was exception 11. Can you hear my cat purring? I see my.
No.
Okay, I see my screen was green around the edge, and I was wondering if you heard my cat purring.
Okay, this is another one where there was enough of a difference between the two that I was not quite sure how to integrate the two. So I've got the existing WSEC language with the ICC language here.
My personal feeling is that our language is better than what ICC came up with it. And they use this term parking garage section, which then isn't defined anywhere and is kind of hard to case down.
I would also say I think it's a given that the International Mechanical Code applies to everything. We don't need to point it out specifically. As applicable, of course.
Anybody feel differently, or does people need more time?
So are we gonna remove this section then and keep with what we got?
That unless somebody has a wants the updated IECC language, that would be the default, Larry.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, my part is the 35 parts per million that's already there existing. I mean, you don't want to be there very long. Okay.
Well, the one detail in the new language or in the IECC language is this requirement to have separate ventilation systems for each parking garage section.
Does
That
that
does
mean
not,
every floor, or does that mean?
yeah, it's a defined term, so we'd have to look at the definition to find out what that is, but that would be an added stringency, I think.
Actually, I don't think it is a defined term. I don't think a definition made it in. So
There is a definition in this integrated draft. It is a part of an enclosed parking garage that is separated from all other parts of the garage by full height solid walls or operable openings that are intended to remain closed during normal operation and where vehicles cannot pass to other parts of the garage. Parking garage can have one or more parking garage sections, and parking garage sections can include multiple floors. So they're separated from all other parts of the garage by full height solid walls or operable openings that are supposed to remain closed during normal operation.
So like you could have a doctor's parking down in the bottom with a garage door, and then the upper parking would be like residential, everybody else parking there. Then so that would be a section then, is that right?
Yeah, and I've seen some garages like that where maybe public parking is in a certain part and then resident parking is in a different part, kind of like you described.
Yeah. So that one particular detail, I haven't dug into the other details yet, but that one does jump out as it's an increased stringency in the IECC language.
Well, that would make sense if, depending where your monitor would, hopefully you'd have multiple monitors. You know, if you have a closed door, can you grab some of the ICC and put it in ours, or do we got to grab the whole thing?
No, we could grab some of it and put it in ours as long as it kind of is in the right spot. Makes sense.
I think having the separate systems, if you had, or way to control it, would be a good thing if you had separate areas like that. So myself, but
well,
so
it is more cost. It is more cost, but
if we inserted it, wouldn't it go under just the first paragraph? Sorry, I'd interrupt you, Shel.
No, I was interrupting. I think you're right. It would go up there, and then we'd have to add that parking garage section to the. Is that already in the integrated draft? The definition?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then strike the rest of the language in blue.
Okay, that sounds good. Does anybody think that that's not a good idea?
Well, the only other thing in there is the exception, which does say garage ventilation system serving a single parking garage section, having a total ventilation system not exceeding 5 horsepower. So do we want to also adopt that exception so that it's not implied that that particular detail applies to really small garages?
Hey, it's really bad to get poisoned inside of a small garage, just like it is in a big garage.
Fair enough.
right.
Yeah. So, well, then there you go. That's a decision we can make here. I'm just pointing out that detail.
I do see some garages that have individual parking garage doors within them, a public parking and then individual parking garage doors for them. But I guess good design would suggest that that door is perforated.
Well, the exception, I think, is to have these controls that turn the system down. So if you have a small motor, you just run it full tilt and not monkey with it. Because you're complying with that first part, the 1, 2, 3, you're complying with all of that. And it's a little, I'm having trouble differentiating now what we're keeping, what we're tossing.
I thought we were keeping
We're
the part
keeping-
where yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just keeping this item 1.
Okay. And the exception.
I think we're discussing whether we should keep the exception, but
Oh,
you're bringing up a good
well,
point.
You know,
Yeah,
the
you-
exception is actually already in our base language up there. Ventilation systems, blah, blah, blah. 5 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's like the same text, actually.
Oh, you're good point. Um,
So I guess we're just pulling that one sentence in.
yeah,
Okay.
and that covers it all, I think.
So what about this, what Dwayne said, and somebody made a check mark too?
Sorry, that was me. Highly intentional. By which I mean unintentional.
Not intentional. Okay. Um,
So this part on the last part of this, on the hood part here, each hood shall be factory built commercial exhaust hood listed by a national. I mean, a lot of exhausts are built out of, well, I think 16 gauge material welded up off the listed hood and then wrapped with a 3M wrap going out. I mean, the majority of hoods over here put in Spokane are probably built by the installer, not the hoods, but the chimney. The chimney would be built by the installer and then put in, and then you have a 3M wrap or something going up.
Well, the listed exhaust hoods language has been in there for a while. And I think it's implied that it's not the ductwork or anything like that. It's the hood itself.
It's just the hood itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my note there was just pointing out that we struck a sentence or a phrase that then we pretty much retyped 2 lines further down. And as long as everybody's happy with the way it comes out, that I'm fine with it.
Yeah, seems all right. It's nice to break up the sentence a little bit.
okay. Put a post-lunch coma going on.
One question, is that only for the class 1 hoods have to be factory built, or what about class 2 hoods? Did we distinguish between that?
Yeah,
It just says kitchen hoods. Okay, type 1. So we're just talking about type 1. Right.
For C-403-710. There's also other language in our code. I'd have to dig. We might need to make sure that they don't conflict. Group R2 ventilation requirements. Sorry, I'd have to dig into that one. Maybe I'll take a look at that, and if I have further comment, I'll bring it up later.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sorry, I was muted. Back at C403 8.1, I think we need another word. It's determining fan power budget. Yeah, right there. I think that needs to say not be greater than. Not be greater than. Or sorry, instead of just be greater than.
We
In
changed it from
8.1?
we changed it from not exceed to be greater than.
Yeah, but that's not what you want to say. You have a budget, you don't want to exceed it.
So be less than.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be less than or not greater than or.
Good
I think
catch.
keeping not in there is fine.
There you go.
Good catch, Lisa.
Okay, so the section where I think we might have an issue with that new section from the IACC. Here, let me have too many things on my computer screen at one time. So it's saying a fan that is the air mover for a heating or cooling system that serves individual dwelling units shall not be used to provide outdoor air. And then it has an exception where the fan efficacy is not less than 1.2 cubic feet per minute. We also, though, have a very specific section called ventilation for group R2 occupancy, which requires a balanced ventilation system and all that. And so this probably is going to take, other than me just looking at this in a couple minutes, to make sure that that new section C403.710 doesn't muddy the waters for the balanced ventilation language.
So is this any improvement on the language that we have already? Or is our existing Washington State language already better than this?
I think, again, I'm skimming this quick. I think that our language is more comprehensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we don't want to adopt this because we have Washington State has its own language that deals with dwelling unit ventilation.
I think I just heard a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to strike this.
Or 3.7.10 or what?
Right.
403.710. Yeah, the other section where I think that this is a problem is C403.761.
Okay, well, let's deal with 403.710 right now.
761.
And we have a motion to remove 403.710, including the exception.
Seven, six. Where's that? 7, 6. 7, 6. 7.
It's at the top of page 116, Larry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is much more comprehensive language and yeah, I don't think we want to have any additional language related to this.
Should this section then be moved down to the later location?
No, because this points
Okay.
to the energy recovery requirements and all that. So it's in a good spot. Unless you wanted to have a pointer or something like that. I don't know what that accomplishes.
It hasn't been a problem where it is now.
Yeah. I guess there's a motion on the table and it's been seconded.
Yep. And I guess I was just checking. So up in the prior section, it says R2, and here it refers to dwelling unit. There's not much of a difference between dwelling unit and R2. That was the difference that I saw.
Yeah, and C 403-761 says for all group R2 dwelling and sleeping units.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So scope's there.
Okay.
Right. We're also going to be adopting back the group R4. So I don't know if that should be addressed within the previous section.
Those are
But that's
sleeping
not,
unit typically, right?
yeah.
Group R4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything in group R is dwelling or sleeping except for like common spaces, right?
Yeah.
So it would seem like we've got it covered above. Okay, we have a motion. The motion is to not move forward C403.7.10 into the integrated draft. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay. All right. Good catch. We will continue on. I want to celebrate that we're over halfway through the code by page count.
Yeah, I just am questioning whether something got transferred into the draft wrong or what is going on, but I saw what looked like some serious irregularities to the pipe thickness or the pipe insulation thickness in relation to its R value.
Yeah, these were the values from the IACC. I think I double checked them in looking at your comments, and they were
Like if you look at there's a row halfway. You scrolled past. There's a row halfway down that starts with R20 on the left for very skinny pipe, and it ends with R20 on the right for really huge pipe, and in the middle the R value is higher. And is there any logic there, or is there just something wrong?
I echo your comment, Dwayne, because take that first line, the inches go from 4.5 to 5 and then stay at 5, but the R values wander all over the place.
So that I didn't have time to figure out what is correct in there. I could check maybe SRE 90.1 has the correct values. It might be, yeah, that IECC just got them in there wrong.
Although
I think we should stick with what we have. We finally got what the insulation industry standards are. And we got rid of this R factor because the R factor is all based off 70 degrees. Okay. And we don't have in a pipe, we don't have 70 degrees, very rarely. And so that's why you run off the K factor and what's going through the pipe and the size of the pipe and how many BTUs you're actually losing per foot of pipe. And that's the standard of the insulation industry. And for years, you guys were going off this R factor crap, and the piping industry never has done that. I mean, the insulation piping industries always ran. Finally, after what you guys finally put in there, and I would remove all this stuff. Okay, it's like home builders are trying to do what pipe mechanical systems, and it doesn't work that way. What should be looked at, and what the insulation industry looks at, is what the BTUs per linear foot that we're losing on the pipe based on the temperature inside the pipe. Okay. And the R factors, nobody pays attention to that stuff with insulation. It's all based off of this. Finally, you had the right formula in there. I've been trying to get this for 10 years.
So
you're suggesting we move back to just using a insulation thickness?
The insulation thickness, and this chart that you put down below is what the insulation industry that sells pipe insulation for. This is rolling back to a housing thing, and that's not what we use out there. I mean, Ornings Corning tables and everything, that it has all these tables. I don't know who finally got these tables put in, but that's the correct thing to have.
So you like the C403.10.32 that's on the screen right now?
The original thing that you had in the 2021 code was correct. Okay. And what people in the industry actually use. Okay. If you want to increase, if you want to look at what the BTU loss per foot is, you'd have to go, I mean, all the industries like Onings Corningware and those people that build pipe insulation, they have a table that shows you the thickness of the insulation and gives you the BTU per square foot loss. And I've always thought is we should just have a table that says, hey, we want to have an outside temperature of this for this situation. And then you just look in your table and boom, that tells you how much pipe insulation that you would put on it, see? But the table that we do have presently basically gives you that. And, but going back to an R factor, it's nothing that the mechanical industry uses. It's just, it's not even stated on the pipe, on the insulation.
Krista, was your intention that we had both of these tables in, or that we were going to choose between them?
The ICC has both of them in here.
Are they optional, or do you choose one or the other, or do you do something else?
I don't see the purpose of the second one. It's basically a repeat of the first.
Yeah. It's in accordance with one or the other. It gives you the choice.
So there would be no need to put the R values in that first table.
If you had, yeah.
If you're going to do both tables, and then we'd have to figure out if for some weird reason these are correct R values in that second table or not. And I just with that other note on the screen right there is just that it looked like that formula had an extra factor in it that wasn't supposed to be there.
The thing that gets me when you look at this table, Dwayne, like the 201 to 250 column, and you have got 8-inch pipe, right? And 8-inch pipe is going to transfer 10 times the BTUs as a 4-inch pipe, okay? But yet you're using less thickness of insulation on it. I can tell you that there's going to be more BTU losses per square foot with the 8-inch pipe, or more BTU gain per linear foot than there is on 4-inch pipe. Oh, you see what I mean? If anything, that table should be higher at the 8-inch pipe.
What I don't get is really here, and I need somebody who's more expert, is how that formula works. This is obviously not the same kind of R value that we talk about for like wall insulation.
No, that's what they're giving. That's what they try to have us do, is they try to use R factor for pipe insulation, and it's not done that way.
Well, the second table allows for different conductivity for the material, whereas the first table has a column for range of conductivity.
If you give me about 3 minutes, I could give you the exact thickness between 4 and 5 if you want to go buy it, because I got the table sitting right in my shop here, but it doesn't make sense to go bigger pipe with less insulation. Bigger pipe should have more insulation if that's what we're trying to do, is save BTUs.
Okay, well, I would like to make a motion then.
Sure.
Or you want to go ahead, Greg? I was going to just make a motion that we strike this table and strike the R values from the other one, and if somebody wants to put them back in, that could be a code change.
That's what I was going to suggest too, Dwayne, is just do that.
So that would be basically to not use any of the language in this table or the other table from the IECC. I think that's how I understand the motion.
Right, and I'm making that motion because it appears that there's serious flaws in here that we don't have time to fix on the fly here today.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion on the table.
I'll second that motion.
Greg is seconding it. We have a motion, we have a second, and the motion is for table C403.10.3 and table C403.10.32, we would not include any information updates from the IECC 2024.
And I'd also have to go up and delete
Yep.
this.
Yep, that would be not necessary as either. Okay, so that's the motion on the table. Motion on the floor. Tables and floors. And once Krista gets done updating it, then I'll take a vote on the motion. Okay, I think we understand. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. We have about a half hour left today. Good discussion, everybody. Greg.
I was just going to say I agree with Dwayne Johnland's comment about the time sensor, because really it's coldest at night, and that's kind of when de-icing is needed the most.
We can go to de-icing controls. Can anybody answer that question? Why would IECC suggest that it's shut off at night?
And this was when I was having trouble finding the original proposal to look at what their rationale was or anything. And it might be just that ICC or the original proponent had them flipped.
Larry.
Oh, I see it. It's and. So automatic controls configured to shut off the system when the outdoor temperature is above 40 degrees and that include one of the following. So if it's above 40 degrees and you have a sensor for moisture, or you have a sensor for daylight, but it's above 40 degrees.
But shouldn't we just strike number 2? Because I mean, we don't really, ice dams and stuff are going to be a problem regardless of what the sun is doing outside.
No, you're right, Greg. And I'm wondering, does a moisture sensor sense ice? Right? I mean,
It senses precipitation. And it might be that they just got sunrise and sunset backwards.
You can get snow and ice sensors. They're very expensive. We use them in snow melt on the driveways all the time. But I wouldn't shut it off at night because you're going to get the buildup in all the gut, and all those valleys and stuff, and then that's going to creep back underneath. Even though you got the snow and ice shield, you're going to have problems, because then you come here in the day in Spokane, you have a huge snowstorm. Now you're double back where you should have been.
So, could I then make a proposal or a motion that we strike number 2 entirely, and that we strike the phrase "one of the following," and so it just says that it includes a moisture sensor.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second.
on discussion then, I'm wondering about swapping sunrise and sunset in part 2, if that was kept.
So my question for you then would be, like, it's above 40 degrees for sure, and you could do this instead of a moisture sensor. You could just say, well, it's above 40 degrees and it's daylight. I guess maybe that works, because we do have that problem that even when it's above freezing, something looking at a clear night sky can frost. So I would take that as a friendly amendment to then put all that back and just switch sunrise and sunset.
What about, but I mean, so solar radiation is not the only reason that causes the snow to melt. It also could just be the heat from coming through the roof. If they don't have a proper ventilation, or if they have a hot roof design. So I'd almost think that we don't necessarily want anything to do with sunlight.
Yeah.
Well, see, the other thing is if you got a 3-foot overhang, and it has nothing to do. What happens here is, the roof melts off, then it hits the frozen part on that 3-foot roof, and she starts building up.
Yeah.
And then you're worse off than what you were. You need to keep that from firsthand experience from my facility here. You got to keep that thing running until that roof clears off, or you're going to have rain inside your building. We have a metal roof here, and in those valleys, if we don't do that, we have water coming into the office. So,
and the way I'm reading this, I realize it's a code language, but it's not actually controls language. The actual control would be, is it above 40, or is there moisture, or is there no moisture? Then I'm off. Or is it above 40 and it's nighttime, or excuse me, or it's nighttime, then I'm going to turn off. That I don't see any sense in that. So
no, I couldn't turn off in my facility if it's above 40 out, and I got ice still on that first 3 feet, that counter lever's out. They put that counter lever out to protect the sidewalks here for the people walking up. So what happens is it melts off during the day, and there's so much ice already there that it starts freezing as it's coming down, even though it's above freezing out a little bit, see? And in order for us to keep going, and I got to keep that heat tape, which is self-regulating, okay?
Right.
I got to keep the heat tape on until my gutters are clear, okay? Otherwise, because we routed the gutters back inside because they were getting so full of ice that we couldn't keep them de-iced out here. So they actually go inside the building to keep them warm, you know?
Okay, so right now where we are is if we switch sunrise and sunset, some people might think this is a good thing to keep.
Yeah, I'm going back to the original motion. Sorry.
What's the original motion? Is just do a strike exception 2?
And then move exception 1 into the main language there.
So basically you would need a moisture sensor and a temperature sensor in all installations.
Yeah.
And the temperature sensor is built into if you buy quality heat tape, the heat tape has a moisture sensor in it. So depending on what part of the roof needs it, because some of it melts off differently, then it picks that up with that internal sensor in the tape.
Yep. Okay, so that's the motion, and this is the motion on the table. Greg and Larry, you have your hands up.
No, I'm sorry.
Comments?
I was just going to say I agree with the friendly amendment as the second.
Okay, cool. Lisa?
Yeah, just typographical is just reading the sentence. When the outdoor temperature is 40 degrees, above 40 degrees, and take the word that out, includes.
And includes a moisture sensor. Yep. Thank you. All right, well, let's vote on it. All in favor of the motion, which is to use the language on the screen, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, great.
One more comment, sorry.
Sure.
Shall include automatic controls and include a moisture sensor. I don't think that S is necessary.
Oh, good catch.
And a moisture sensor. Okay, we don't need to vote on that. Is that what you were saying, Kevin?
Yeah, exactly.
I just have to mention, I have to jump off just a few minutes early. I just want to make sure I don't mess up the quorum.
I think we usually have a pretty full house for the energy code. So I
Okay.
don't think you will. But I do. We are, as we get towards the end, there is probably one more work group we need, which is to look at lighting power density and lighting power allowances. Can we skip ahead to, what is it?
Table C405 point something.
Yeah. 405.4, is that where we are? And Dwayne, do you want to launch into what you thought about this?
So let's look at the space by space table. It's a little more, it's the next table down. So the new IEC tables are directly taken from the new ASHRAE, and they went through and they did some more detailed research, and they overall it ends what ASHRAE did ends up reducing, you know, the general square footage for buildings, you know, if you area weight it based on how big each kind of space is. But interestingly, in doing this research, they increased the lighting power allowance for 20 different space types, and they're mostly small. You know, I'm thinking of like little maintenance closets and nursing stations and restrooms and things, whereas most larger spaces
the lighting power allowance went down, and it reflects that anybody who's done a lighting design knows that you can't get optimal lighting layouts in little or irregularly shaped spaces, right? They're just it's not like having a big open office or something. So my recommendation is that instead of going through line by line like we have, and keeping the Washington State things where they were more restrictive and taking in the IEC things where they're more restrictive, that we instead take on the whole IECC lighting power allowance tables as they are. And then if somebody wants, and I might do this, we could propose an overall reduction of some percentage for interior spaces, to reflect the fact that the ASHRAE research is already a few years old and lighting power keeps falling as the technology gets better. But that instead of just piecemealing through this, we take on IECC. This just makes it a lot more practical for lighting designers, and is heading us towards saving energy as well.
I really like that suggestion of just taking IEC on everything for now and then code change proposals to. I like that. Good suggestion, Dwayne.
We might say, given that over the last 3 years, LED efficacy has improved by 5% or 10% or something, we might take that. But that would still leave it proportionately the same for all these different room types.
So Dwayne, just to be clear on what you're suggesting is some of these would get worse than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So the in a gymnasium 0.23 might be higher actually in the integrated draft. And so they would all have a strikeout and using the IECC version, and then somebody would create a proposal to reduce them, and we could consider that later. I think that's I just want everybody to understand that idea. Dwayne's suggesting that idea. Andrew, I want to hear your thoughts.
Hi there, Andrew Poltorek, Puget Sound Energy. I would say, sure, go ahead with the integrated draft, what these ASHRAE numbers are. However, I would caution against just doing an across the board 10% cut or 5% cut or whatever that cut is across the board. LEDs are improving, but they're not improving at the rate that may be suggested. Yeah, lighting, the lumens efficiency, lumens per watt efficiency has increased over the past couple of years, but it's not at the rate that it has been when they first came out, or even the last 3 to 4 years. It's slowed down considerably. But I would say yes. I think for this exercise, it's probably best just to accept for the integrated draft, and then let people come forward afterwards, after the integrated draft is published, to send in their own comments.
And Andrew, DOE still publishes that annual survey, right, where they're tracking, because you're right, it's not getting better by 15% a year or something like it was for a while, but it's getting better marginally.
And unfortunately, their numbers that DOE publishes is national on some things, where we need to really consider what we're looking at in the Northwest or the Northeast. Those are where the biggest improvements are happening in energy code. So some of those DOE numbers I don't really take at full value.
Andrew, will you work with me on coming up with a percentage for a proposal later?
Yeah, but I'll be happy to, but I don't know if I'll want to. Just give you a heads up. I love working with you, and we'll again in the future, but I don't know if it'll be great to go across the board and just say a certain number cut, but we can talk about that and happy to negotiate that and chat with you about it. Yes.
Sure.
More than happy to.
Thanks. Okay, so so Krista, is it acceptable for us to make some LPDs worse as long as in this integrated draft, as long as the overall is better?
Yeah, that's what we did last time too, so.
Okay. then I guess rather than make a motion on that because we don't see them in front of us, could you between now and the next meeting show us what IECC says for all of them, or is that already on the screen?
No, this is the WSEC integrated draft. I can flip them to the other one if you want to see it.
Well, I guess what I meant was where it says in a gymnasium, there's no strikeout and no change. And I was wondering if we vote on something, I'd like to know what it is.
Yeah.
So if that 0.23 became a 0.28 or something like that, because of that's what the IECC suggested, then I kind of want to see it in front of us.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so if we do that, then we wouldn't vote on it today. We would come back to this next week, and we don't really need a work group on it between now and next week. So that was my big concern. Marty.
Yeah, I'd echo that last comment that I think it's fine to accept it for Dwayne's, motion, or just to accept this as it is. But I definitely would be wary of a cut across the board. I do want to make it clear to this group that this is about lighting for the cones and rods. It is not about lighting for health. And there's consensus now with UL, ANSI, CIE, the well building standard, that we are not getting enough light indoors for human health, for the circadian rhythms, there's tons of evidence. So I want to, have a group that, considers what PNNL's research is, the University of Washington, of either one, not looking at this through a connected load, because that's one of the problems. Could we have more of an outcome-based code? But some of these lighting power densities from all the research we've done, we are not getting enough light for human health. So just want to put that out there.
Thanks, Marty. Larry.
Yeah, well, why can't we just have the number of lumens that we want, and then that are required per square foot, and then have your factor of what the LED portion of it is. And then we got to make sure, like the guy says, that we're getting enough light in those portions to give us enough vitamin D for our bodies.
Well, Larry, to answer that, there are already other codes that actually do specify the lumen levels or foot candle levels for spaces. And really what they're trying to do here is to make sure you're choosing a lighting source that that is energy efficient. So that's because given we're not using incandescent anymore, everything's gone to LED mostly. But if you're using a fluorescent, it's going to have higher watts per square foot to get the same lumens than if you used an LED.
But we're not buying, I don't know, over here, we're not buying fluorescents anymore. Even the lights, the tubes come LED, we just stick them in now. The wholesalers aren't even stocking them over here.
There's like halogen and other light sources that are less efficient than LEDs, and this is trying to just cap the lighting power density, the installed lighting power density. Some lighting designers go a little crazy with their quantity of fixtures that they put in there, and this works with that in at least most spaces. Let's move on. We've agreed to come back to this next week. So or 2 weeks from now. So let's head back to where we were, and glad we don't need a working group for that.
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself. This was another section that was nearly identical to language we already have in the service water section, and I was a little confused why IECC put it into the mechanical section.
Clean water pumps, as opposed to what it sounds like, just mean that pumps for water that doesn't have a lot of particulate stuff in it, and it's not the same as pumps that are used for domestic water.
Okay.
Is this like lab pure water system kind of thing, or?
No, it's basically, it can be water or water with antifreeze or water with certain other things in it, but not, but it just affects the kind of pump you use.
Okay. Larry.
Well, he answered some of those questions. I don't know how you can limit the maximum feet ahead. I mean, I know there's some pumps out there do 1,000 feet ahead. So depending on what we're trying to pump here, I don't know why you'd put a head limit in versus what matters to me is where you are on the pump curve. I mean, if you ever know that you got feet ahead and you got GPM, and then there's a pump curve in there that shows you how efficient you are. And you usually want to be in the middle of the curve for where you're at. And to put a maximum foot requirement in there, I mean, depending on what you're trying to do, I don't know if you could get there, to be honest with you. I think you should strike number 4, but I think you should, what we should be putting in there is where the efficiency needs to be in the pump curve. So when the guy goes out there to dials it in, he actually does dial it in to that proper, or he programs it into the proper area of the pump. Okay. But to limit what the amount of feet you have to do, I think that's a problem. I could see that being a problem. I mean, you got to get it there. And you got to have a certain amount of pressure to get it there. So thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Does anybody else agree with Larry on the number 4? The language at the very top is just shall achieve a PEI rating of not greater than 1. Okay, I'm not seeing that anybody wants to change the language in front of us. Other than Larry suggested 4 be stricken. I don't see anybody rushing to agree with that. As an architect, this is not my wheelhouse, so I'm not going to weigh in on any of it. Okay, well, let's move on. Scrolling down.
We got 5 minutes.
Yep. I guess while we're scrolling, I want to mention or ask, I would be fine starting our next tag meeting at 8 in the morning. We set a time that we talked about, but it hasn't been published to the public yet. So we could change the time and it wouldn't have any deleterious effect on complying with public meetings or anything like that. So I'm going to ask Krista to send around a survey to see what time we want to start next time. Because I heard last time that if we start earlier, we could finish earlier. And I think next time is going to be, we're going to try and want to finish it all next time. So we might need to go 5 hours instead of just 4. Greg.
So mine is regarding number G. Oh, did you want to settle that thing on hand first?
Does anybody have comments about?
Yeah, we do have a meeting invite already for 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and I was wondering if we wanted to start at 8 to just get in more time. Some people get up early and like to get at it.
Well, from my point of view, I got to get the crews out every morning. And 9 o'clock, I mean, I can hit 9 o'clock, might be able to hit 8:30, but our guys get in at 7:30 and I got to get them out the door and to their jobs. So
yeah, they'll survey the center around. I want to start as early as possible, but I understand. Yep. We typically have never started before 8:30. So just bringing it up. All right, Greg, go for it.
So item G is referring to energy storage, essentially. So it's using water for energy storage based on grid demand. And in there, it lists as you can only for electric. And so essentially, just a quick summary, the table above gives you all the efficiency standards. And then this says there's an exception for electric resistance water heaters used for grid. And the issue I have is why limit it to electric resistive, because heat pump water heaters would be a much better way to do energy storage for your water heating.
It's not an exception, Greg. That's a footnote, and it's a footnote for a category called grid-enabled water heaters. So it just says what that is, right?
But I mean, why limit grid-enabled water heaters for? Because I mean, if you look at the 4 point.
The exception says specifically electric resistance.
Yeah, and I'm saying you don't want to limit that just to electric resistance because you want a heat pump water heater to be used there too.
That would make sense. I don't know why G would limit it, but then again, I haven't looked at the whole table. That's a good point.
Well, that may be just what the standard limits it to. The testing standard is based on that specific model.
That was my question is since it's so specific about a warning sign and everything else, that I thought this was something that complied with a particular federal standard.
My reading of this, and I mean, I haven't researched on any federal standards, but my reading of this is they're just saying if you're using the water heater in conjunction for demand response with the electric grid, then you have an exception. I mean, they gave you your exception. You don't have to comply with the standards. And I think it's inadvertent. I mean, they were saying electric resistance because they assumed they were trying to say, well, with electricity, with the grid, it's obviously electric, storage. But what they missed is, what if you want to use heat pump water heater for that fashion? And let's say your heat pump water heater didn't quite meet the other standards, but it's still going to be way better than electric resistive.
I see where you're going. You want to make, I just make that a motion and I'll second you.
So I was just going to motion to strip out the resistance, just where it says resistance after electric everywhere.
How about if it says electric resistance or heat pump water heater? Would that work?
Well, I would just say electric water heater because I mean it's obviously with electric grid, and so then you're with electric water heater.
I second that.
Makes sense to me. Okay, we have a motion.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Kevin Duell.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there further discussion on this? Greg, I see your hand up.
Oh, I gotta lower it.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, which is to strike the word resistance from this, so that it includes heat pump water heaters, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, with that, we have agreement. Thank you. We are 138 out of 242 pages. I think we can make it next time. Thank you all for showing up and giving it your all and being technical experts and volunteering your time to help out. Thanks a lot. We are adjourned.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thank
Thank you.